Hey everyone, this is Will Dorsey Jr. of Talk Music Podcast. My next guest named Kevin Murphy. He played drums for Randy Houser, Jon Pardi, Jimmy's Chicken Shack, Tonic, and Egypt. This man has done it all, and especially in the world of country. So he's my first country artist. He's got a lot to say, and he helped me get into this music industry himself. Everybody, welcome Kevin Murphy.
Welcome to Talk Music with Will Dorsey Jr.
Every month,
Our host Will is going to interview musicians from around the world and talk everything music. Our listeners range from professionals to recreational musicians who want to learn more about the industry, their instruments, and the community of top musicians. So join us, subscribe, and keep up with Talk Music.
visit us on www.talkmusicpodcast.com. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Download our podcast on Apple, Google, Amazon, and Spotify.
Today's episode is brought to you by our sponsor, eRecord Studio, the new way musicians rehearse, record, and share their eRecord sessions on social media. Visit ERS on eRecordStudio.com. Download this amazing app on Google and Apple Apps stores.
What's up, Kevin?
Will Dorsey!
Kevin Murphy! My bro.
Man,
Dude.
I have missed your face.
Man, I have missed you totally. You're like in all the years that that I moved out to LA or whatever. But I mean, I got to tell people how you got me to this point, and I don't think people don't know how you got me here. I remember.
may not know.
No. Okay. Okay. Let me tell you a little bit about this story. Okay. This is what you did for me. And I man, from the bottom of my heart, I definitely appreciate you, bro. And it means
Likewise.
so much to me, and what you did and just opened my eyes to things. I remember, I think I just saw you were playing with a band called Tonic at the time.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I want to be like Kevin. And I don't think you know that.
You wanted to be fat?
No, no,
That's weird. You wanted to be fat and poor? That's silly, Will.
No.
You're crazy.
No. I was just, envy of you, like it's like, man, he's playing with Tonic, and I think was Tonic before Jimmy's Chicken Shack?
They were kind of the same time. Like it was like Full Stop, Egypt, Earth to Andy, and Jimmy's Chicken Shack, and Tonic, and then I just started doing more Tonic, and then I just stopped doing the other two.
Right, I got you. So I remember at the I was dating somebody back then, and I was telling her, like I wanted to be like Kevin, doing that, and I remember calling you back in the day and just asking, like, dude, how are you doing this? And you told me, but the words that stuck in my head was, dude, if you want to do this, and I know some drummers have made it out of the the tri-state area or whatever.
Sure.
But you told me what stuck. It's like, dude, you need to get the fuck out of Maryland. And it's like in the three places that you told me was definitely, New York, Nashville, or LA.
Yeah.
And
You can add London to that, but that's a pricey move. you know?
right, yeah. And I remember you telling me, he's like, don't go to New York. That's too close for you to turn around. And that you would just go right back to Maryland.
That's why I didn't pick New York.
Right.
Because I was like, oh, if things get rough, shit, I just got to drive 4.5 hours. I'll be back in DC, back in the
Exactly.
motherland, you know,
Right.
be back
Yeah.
with my people. It's
Right.
too easy. I've got to be somewhere. I've got to be somewhere with no net,
Yeah.
you know.
So
Um,
you took those words that you said to me, I took it to heart. And I had to figure it out, like how I was going to get. And so I chose, like you say, you could choose Nashville, say, but get ready for yourself to play some country. I'm like, do I want to play country? Like, but I mean, now I would still do it, so,
yeah, yeah.
but I chose LA. Just to see, at the time I was working at Guitar Center, transferred to a store out there, started meeting some people, but no, you made me move out to LA and just to try to see what I could do out in LA. And
And there you are.
yeah, and here
You
I
got a
am.
Grammy behind you. I can see
Yeah.
it.
Oh, you can see it.
You just I love how you were like, I got my backpack. I got my backpack. But Will was like, let's make sure my Grammy is right. That's just so just so we still know who's what's what.
Oh no, come on, man.
Here's my Grammy, Kevin. You piece of shit, dude. I love it. I love it.
Man.
Well, you look, man. I'm glad those words meant something to you, and that means a lot to me that I had any impact on anyone, much less someone I respect and love as a friend. But like, to me, all the advice I ever give to anyone, and now that I'm ancient, now that I'm an old seafaring dog in Nashville, like I get people that ask me questions, kind of frequently, younger drummers. And it's funny to think of younger drummers now, they're the age, they're just getting started. And I was already 8 years into touring.
Yeah.
When I was their age, I was already, I'd already done a van for 7 years. And these kids are just like, I just got out of my master's degree, I'm 27 and I'm ready to get going. I'm like, I was already like old, but I honestly just, to me, it seems like any advice I give, I try to be honest, but to me, all worthwhile advice isn't worth hearing or giving if it's hard to internalize.
Right.
So to me, I make it very obvious. And to me, that was just obvious. You need to go somewhere where you can't just give up easily, where you make it a difficulty to give up. Like you're going to give up. You got to get all your shit 3,000 miles back.
Yeah.
You got to talk your brother into letting you stay in your guest room. You got to pack up. You got to sell some drums. Like you make it hard on yourself.
Yeah.
If you just go to one town over, man, you can just be like, man, mom's cooking so good. Times are tough. I'm going to go back and get some casserole. And honestly, I would have been there with you. I chose Nashville for only one reason. And it wasn't that I wanted to play country music, because at the time, I didn't really care. I like a lot of it now. I don't like a lot of it. Like you couldn't pay me to play for some guy. I wouldn't play for Jason Aldean.
Right.
I don't like the music. I don't think he's particularly interesting. But like there are lots of bands and lots of artists that I'm like, no. I came to Nashville. I love the guy I play for. And I've loved a lot of the gigs I've done down there. And a lot of the albums have been really fun. But I really only chose Nashville because I needed to be close to my daughter in Virginia. Because I couldn't, we were splitting, I started working down there, and then my ex-wife and I were starting to kind of, decide to be apart. And I was like, I'm not going to take my daughter from her just so I can go on the road and figure out care. So I was like, okay, I'm going to play the role of, she's going to stay in Virginia and I'm going to drive back and forth to somewhere to make it work. And I can either go to New York or I can go to Nashville. And honestly, New York just intimidated me as well, because I was like, I don't have the chops to do like the jazz stuff, and the pop stuff. I didn't like a lot of it. And the stuff that I did like was just really beyond what I was doing at the time. So I was like, I can work in Nashville. I'm doing Tonic. It's keeping me afloat. I can drive back and forth to Nashville, do a record, do these tours. But honestly, if I did not have to make that choice, it would have been Los Angeles with you.
Right.
I would have just come with you.
Man. That's it. So once you got to Nashville, like can I ask, like, like what made you, like stayed in Nashville and to start playing country music? Because man, I know you as a rock drummer.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah. And like I was surprised when I saw you playing, with John, and playing with it was another country band you were playing in before that.
It was a few. There was a guy named Randy Hauser. And
That's right.
I did some bouncing around, and there was a kid that was from American Idol, and you'll remember Tony, the guitar player from Earth to Andy. When,
Oh yeah.
when Earth to Andy split up, I started doing more tonic. He went to Train and did
Oh,
his thing for a while, and when he stopped with Train, he ended up in Nashville. Whatever, he and his wife ended up down there, and he was playing for some people, and he actually called me. The reason that I was thinking about how I could afford to move to Los Angeles.
yeah.
And I was trying to figure out how not only could I afford to move to Los Angeles, but how could I afford to move to Los Angeles and pay for a second place for my ex-wife and my daughter. To like I had to get two homes
Oh
in Los
man.
Angeles, and I was trying to figure that out
Right.
in earnest. And Tony called me, and Tony has passed away now. He died about 10 years ago, or
Oh,
longer now. Yeah,
really?
cancer got him. But like he was thriving down there, and it was like the mid 2000s, and he was like called me, and he was like, buddy, and I don't mean to sound disrespectful to the players in Nashville now. It is a different world, but at that time he was like, country music has shifted. The drumming in particular has shifted into people wanting rock style drumming, and I think that's probably because of Larry London in the
Right.
early 90s, and then Chris McHugh in the late 90s and early 2000s. There were some couple of guys that were kind of benchmark, kind of meat and potato, just like,
Yeah.
really, really on the click, really precise, really hard hitting,
Yeah.
really rock sounds. They didn't play, they didn't, country sounds from like the early 90s sound like a thing, and then you hear these guys and you're like, that's not a country drummer. He might be going booka baka, but that is a fucking rock drummer, right?
Right. Yeah.
And he was like, if you come work here now, it'll be like shooting fish in the barrel for you.
Mm.
And I was like, well, I like shooting fish in the barrel, and I like work.
Right.
And while I'm figuring out my LA move, and while I'm stacking up the 25 grand I'm probably going to need to get established and get a couple of months of rent for two different places,
Yeah.
and the travel and the gear, I was like, I will just do that. So I started playing for this country, this American Idol kid. And the funny thing is, my rep started almost immediately because I didn't realize this was different. And you'll be like, yeah, this is what we did in Maryland and what we did in DC. Because we would all sit in with each other, and like, when Jimmy's called me, they had already done a record with Sipple, and they had changed some things, but they didn't change all of it. So, and Sipple had left, and I love Mike, and they were like, hey man, we need you to redo a lot of these songs, and we need to cut some new ones because the bit rate is different. We changed some shit, and like, but we want you to record. It's all done.
Right.
So you're just gonna have to play to us. And a couple of them don't have click. And Frank Marchand was like, you'll be fine. But he just like started it. He fucking started it, and I had to like play along. But we were thrown into the fire all the time. If you sat in with a go-go band, there wasn't a chart. It wasn't even a song. It was some guy going do 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 do. It was like a keyboard guy and a guy that yelled yeah every once in a while. Like you were just finding your way through this shit, right?
Yeah.
So I never rehearsed with this kid that Tony was like, I'll get you the gig. I'll just tell him you're coming. We have a show in 3 days at the Shed, the amphitheater in Tampa, opening up for Charlie Daniels.
Oh wow.
And I was like, okay. And they were like, he was like, they'll send you a flight. So I learned this kid's set without help and just like listened to the songs and made my cheat sheet notes, and I walked up the ramp, and as I was walking on stage, I met the artist and everyone in the band except for Tony. I met him.
Right.
I knew him, sat down and killed it because, how many times have you seen Everything or Laughing Color, your band, or Emmett Swimming, or like Fighting Gravity, or, all those bands from the Virginia, DC area, even the Yams from Outer Space, those crazy jam guys. Like, Egypt was the band I was in before with Andy was survived on improv and hearing other people come in. The guys from The Authority would sit in, you would just go, and we would end up playing one of their songs, and you didn't know it,
Right.
but you'd just play it. We could jump into, at any given time, somebody could say a Bad Brain song or a 24/7 Spies song or whoever, and we could just go into it and get through it somehow. So for me, now in country songs didn't seem that, I was like, okay.
Right.
I did it on a rental kit, and word got around that this dude was here that was kind of really fast at like getting that shit together.
Wow.
And I eventually ended up, and Tony left and went to somebody else, and people started leaving for other bands. The bass player, who was the MD, left and went to play for Darius Rucker. So we needed a bass player. And Tony and I were like, well, we don't know anybody here, so let's call Amos Heller from Charlottesville. And Amos came down.
Right.
And then we called our buddy, another buddy, Mike Meadows from Charlottesville. We called people from back home. And they started getting, like, half of them play for Taylor Swift now.
Wow.
Like, Amos and Mike both went to Taylor Swift, and then Tripper Ryder, we got him to replace Amos. When Amos and Tripper came with me to Randy Houser, and now he plays for a kid named Dustin Lynch. He played Red Rocks yesterday.
Right.
So, and then like Devin Malone came to replace Mike, and now Devin's a session guy. He just did the Rascal Flatts tour. So everybody we would pull from Virginia came down, and they did the same thing I did. They were like, well, fuck, this is easy. Because that Charlottesville, DC area, that Maryland, DC, Virginia, we were all kind of guns. We could all kind of jump into anything and play.
Yeah.
And that's why people were like, wow, Dave Matthews Band. It's like, no. Everybody was like that.
Yeah.
Dave was a weird bartender, and they could have had Johnny Gilmore, but Johnny was crazy. But they got Carter. Carter and Johnny played the same kind of syncopated, crazy drumming, and Dave wanted a crazy drummer, so we got one of the two or three in Charlottesville. It could have been any of them.
Right. Wow.
Phenomenal. And Leroy was like, they could have gotten John Durth, but they got Leroy. Like, everybody could play. It just, Dave got these perfect five guys together and made this thing. Laughing Colors had the perfect group. Egypt had these perfect groups. So but we could all play.
Right.
So everybody we brought down ended up getting all these other gigs, and that American Idol kid is just like, he's somewhere else now doing whatever. And like, we all just started doing other things. And then by the time I was 6 years into Hauser, I was like, well, we're doing opening slots in arenas and stadiums and sheds. I was like, well, I guess moving to LA now would be stupid. I've already become, people are starting to know my name.
Yeah.
In Nashville. Yeah. And now I've been in Nashville almost 20 years, 19 years.
Yeah.
And now I really don't know how I'm perceived here. I know that I'm known because I will walk in places and drummers will say hello and introduce themselves to me. And, but I don't know how respected or how I'm talked about, but I know that I'm a known quantity because I've been around for so long.
Yeah.
And I got, Hauser, he actually fired me on my birthday 7 years ago.
No.
He did.
No. Come on. Are you serious?
Yeah. Thanks, Randy.
Oh my. Oh.
And to be fair to him, we still text. He texted me on my birthday last week.
Okay. All right. Well, happy birthday, dude. Aries.
Thank you, my friend.
My Aries brother.
Aries. And,
right.
and he literally texted me. He was like, man, happy birthday, bro. I'm turning 50 this year. We were laughing about aging and stuff like that. So we're cool. But he just wanted to do something different. And he called me and I was, but here's what's cool about, like, I've always been lucky. JoJo, my wife, JoJo, her artist name is Hester Rame, and she's a phenomenal musician. She is always making, like, kind of cracking, like, you're the luckiest son of a bitch I've ever met. Like, and it seems to work out, you make your own luck and you put yourself in the right spot. And like now it just kind of it really does seem lucky at times, because we'll be like, man, well, we got this dog bill for $436 for the tooth cleaning or whatever. And it's like, baby, I don't know, I'm going to pay that. We're just going to have to let that one ride. And I'll go to the mailbox and it'll be like a check from the Opry for $444.
Oh my God.
Like, it'll be like exactly what I need. and Randy gave me a couple of months severance.
Dude, that's cool.
He gave me 3 months, 2 or 3 months severance. And I was like, that doesn't happen in Nashville. You don't get paid. You get fired.
That's it.
That's it. And Randy was like, I want to give you a couple of months to, find something else, man, because I know this is hitting you out of the blue. And I was like, man, thanks so much. So the day my last deposit of my severance hit in June, middle of June, like the day it hit, I turned to JoJo and I was like, baby, the last check just hit. I think I'm going to wake up tomorrow. I'm going to go down to Lowe's and fill out a thing. I'm just going to go look for some day work and I'll see what I can piece together on some side gigs or whatever, but we'll be okay. And she was like, we'll be okay, baby. It's cool. I'll look for something else too. And 20 minutes later, Lee Francis, the bass player for Jon Pardi, called me and was like, hey man, we need to fill this drum sheet. And everybody I ask for names just gives me one. Do you want to do this? Yeah. I don't even want you to audition. Like, we called the guy that did the albums, Miles McPherson, who's a phenomenal drummer. Miles, like everybody knows Miles. And Miles was like, man, just stop fucking around. Just call Murphy. And I guess Miles was the reason I got this job.
Dude.
Because he was like, nah, man, stop fucking calling people. Call Kevin. And Lee was like, producers, drummers, everybody. And we finally called Miles and he just told us to stop dicking around. Do you want this gig? And I was like, I absolutely want this gig. And he was like, cool, send you some stuff. See you bus calls Wednesday at 12. See ya.
Wow. Yeah.
And that was this June will be 7 years.
Wow. Congratulations, man.
And I thank you. And I played, John would inch us into playing. Lee's played on all of his records because they're best bros. But we did like a Christmas record and John would use it. We did a cover record during the pandemic where he was like, let's just get in my garage, my barn and make an album of covers. We did some Tom Petty and some, we did, and we played that and he enjoyed the process. He was like, I want to make a band record. And I remember, I don't know if I had a part of, I think I had a part in it to at least the degree where we were sitting at the bar. We carry a bar with us on the road and they set it up every day. And John and I were sitting there last year and we were talking about recording and I was like, man, I'm not trying to talk you into anything, but all your favorite, if you made a list of your 20 favorite songs, not a damn one of them was made the way Nashville is making records right now. Not one. Not one of your favorite albums was made with like guys showing up at 10, blasting out 6 songs by 2, taking a lunch break, doing 6 more and being done by the end of the day.
Right.
Having just heard the song once and charted it and played it twice and gotten out. They were all done with guys drinking, eating, partying, fighting, getting into arguments, working their way through it, creating these music over the course of a month in a studio and then tracking it. And he ultimately was like, he wanted to do that. And he got it with this producer, Jay Joyce, who's my favorite experience ever. And Jay was like, we're using the band. So that album came out the day after my birthday last week.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Just came out. And
Wow.
it's already got a few 100,000 streams and it's doing great.
You want to plug that, like so people could
well,
check
sure.
that out
It's called
too?
Honky Tonk Hollywood. It's just it's John's newest, I think it's his 5th record. It's the first one that the band has done.
Yeah.
Like I say, the bass player is on all of them. But the band, we weren't on part of recording the rest of them.
Right.
And I'm really proud of it, man. I got to be honest. Up until this record, I think Earth to Andy's album we did out in LA was kind of like my apex experience. I think my best playing was probably on the Jimmy's Chicken Shack record because I got after that. I played some shit on that record.
You did.
I
was like, all right. I see you, Kevin. I see you.
Good job. But I really enjoyed this. Jay and I were like, we got to the end of it. And he was like, listen, man, people are going to listen to this record. The drummers that are going to hear this record, you're going to be able to separate the ones who know what the fuck real drumming is and the ones that don't. You're going to separate them by their reaction to your work on this record. Because, man, there's some one headlight shit on this where I don't hit a cymbal. There's some stuff where there's some very particular stuff where I was like, a lot of people go, you got to serve the song, and they're full of shit. They don't know what they're just like, they can't play more. But this was an exercise in restraint because there were 9 there were at all times there were 8 or 9 players playing. There was several guitars, acoustic, electric, a steel, a fiddle, a keyboard player, a different keyboard patch, loops, background vocal. There was all this stuff happening, and the way Jay produces it, it's all very counterpunctual, where things are popping in and out. And if your drums are, all due respect to, if you're playing, like the way you perceive Eric Moore, like a lot of notes or whatever, as cool as that may be for certain things, if you do that on this, it doesn't work. Even he or Jojo Mayer or somebody with these incredible chops, Thomas Lang. If you got any of those guys, if you walked to Pridgeon or you walked anybody into the room with like, listen to this music, everyone would have to go, you'd have to just do it with restraint or you ruin it.
Yeah. Wow.
So it's one of these records where I pay homage to drummers here and there. I give a little shout out to Matt Chamberlain. I give a shout out to Mick Fleetwood. I give a little fills throughout the record, or little Easter eggs for drummers to find. Like, there's the Chamberlain. There's the I get a little tasty bits in it, but as a general rule, it was an exercise in restraint. And
wow,
man, I'm sorry I rambled, but like
no, you're good, dude.
But that's the arc, right? Like you and I knew each other in DC, and I was like, man, it was really just, I would have been in LA, but I had a daughter. And all my friends are in LA. I'm friends with the DeLeo brothers still. Like, I'm friends with Sutter and Elitch and, like, Mario Caliri. I'm friends with, I got a big posse out there. I would have been fine.
Right.
But I had a daughter, and at the time, Maddie was, when I came down here, she was she was like 11.
Yeah.
12. When I started working, and by the time I moved down here full time, she was in high school, and I was like, man, thank God I'm not in LA. I wouldn't know my daughter now.
Yeah, you wouldn't.
And now she and I are incredibly close.
I see that.
Yeah, we talk daily. And I wouldn't have that had I chosen a different town than Nashville. So even though sometimes I'm like, man, country music drummers aren't really respected outside of our city.
Right.
And I get that. I talk to people from LA, and they're like, man, that guy's a chump. This clown playing stadiums, or this dude doing that, or, they don't have kind words for the drumming community of Nashville. And I get that some of the people they see aren't like impressing them in whatever way they need to be impressed. And I get that. But like, there are times when I'm playing, I'm like, man, nobody respects me or us outside of Nashville. Like, and I'm bummed. But then I go like, but me and Maddie are really good friends. Right. And I have a house that it's not a great house. It's a little rancher, but I have an acre of land. Dude. And I'm in a quiet neighborhood. And it would cost me $2.5 million if I were in Sherman Oaks.
Oh, there's no question about it. I can't even do it here, man. So
I have a full acre. Like, my yard goes like 300 feet that way. Like, it's all mine.
That's awesome.
I have 3 dogs that can walk around, and my lady has, our whole house is recording studio except for our bedroom.
Right.
We have like our piano studio down there, and my drum studio in here, and a listening room. Like, dude, I couldn't have that in New York. I couldn't. I've talked to Pelton and guys like that are like, yeah, man, I had to buy the apartment next to me, knock down a wall, put in, just to play drums quietly. Like,
right.
I would never have what I have.
Right.
If I hadn't come here.
Right.
So even though sometimes I'm like, man, it's hard. It's like fighting uphill to get some respect.
Right.
And yeah, there's some songs about beer.
Right. Hey, nothing wrong with that.
Sometimes it's not real thrilling to be like, oh, a song about beer, But not all of us can play for Tori Amos or Mars Volta or whatever, and all of those other gigs are problematic in their own way.
Right.
And I actually have my gig with Jon isn't problematic. I love my band guys. The crew guys are great. One of my best friends is my tech. Jon's a good dude, and it's easy. There's 6 buses, 8 trucks.
Damn.
I get my own condo bunk. The only people on our bus is the band. Like,
Right.
no one bothers us. Sometimes we do sound check. Sometimes we don't. Like, and now John has gotten successful to the point where, I make sure to remind myself that it's John. Like, I overheard somebody that plays for a really big artist recently. I overheard a tale of him going like, "Well, why wouldn't we headline this big festival?" And it's like, what do you mean we? Like, it does say Kevin Murphy on the ticket,
Right?
It doesn't have your name on the ticket. It says the guy we work for. So John is the guy that John drives the Maybach. I have a Kia. Like, it's his gig, right?
Right. Yeah.
But like, because John has achieved this, I get to play, sheds,
Right.
arenas. Like, we're about to start a tour next week. We rehearse for 2 days in the arena. We're about to, like, my rehearsal space will be 14,000 seats. Like, it's big. Right. So there's a trade-off. A lot of times you're like, oh man, I wish I lived in LA and did cool shit.
No,
but like,
don't.
it's not any cooler. And a lot of my friends that are in Los Angeles call me and are like, have you heard any openings?
Right.
I got friends in London. Hey man, I'm coming to town. You got any gigs for me? And it's like, man, everybody's scraping. It doesn't matter where you are.
I'm scraping now.
You got a Grammy, and you are no different than the guys that work for Taylor. Where I'm like, hey man, what's going on now? And I talked to one of them the other day. I was like, hey, let's get some coffee. And it's like, I think I'm off for a year. I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
Like, she can do whatever she wants.
Yeah.
She could be like, I want to go to the moon, and somebody's going to figure out how to get her ass to the moon, right? Ice he's a busy dude.
Yeah. No, he is. And I just finished.
You have to wait.
Yeah. Right. You had to. I just finished, drum checking for Adele, and
amazing.
And I'm just, like, I'm still scrambling right now. Like, okay, what's my next gig?
And then ISO call and be like, yo, I booked this thing in Brazil. And you'd be like, cool. Let's go. But like, when you're working for an artist that is that beyond a certain level, they are so busy.
Yeah.
That it really just, you have to wait for them to want to be busy with the thing you're involved with. Yeah. Because they might be doing a movie, might be doing their TV show. They might be doing they're the type of people, everybody we just listed, Adele and Ice, even though he used to be like a counterculture, he came from the hardcore scene.
Yeah.
Like when it was burgeoning, he's one of the OGs. He's one of the Rushmore of, at the top end of that culture.
Right.
But then he got into TV.
Yeah.
And movies and shit like that. So now he ain't just a musician anymore.
Right.
He's like Taylor, or like, he's like, he can do what he wants. He can be like, I want to book a tour of Europe for 3 months, and you'll go to Europe. And they'll be like, we're off for 3 years. You'll be like, okay.
Right.
Anybody need me to mow their lawn?
No, you're right.
I'm the same way. And so I feel lucky. John has me on a W-2. He has me on salary.
Dude.
And I can do other sessions.
Right.
I don't tour with other people, but really it's just, I could in the winter if we were off, he wouldn't care as long as it didn't get in the way of him. So if he calls now and says, hey, everybody come to my house and do a thing, I drop what I'm doing and I go.
All right. Dude. Let's switch up for a minute.
Yeah, sorry, I rambled.
No. You're good. I
Steve's gonna be like, these fucking guys.
I want to get into like more of your drumming style. Let's go back to, I guess, when you were in Charlottesville. Like what made you go to drums? Period.
Well, I was actually in a little town north of Charlottesville. I say Charlottesville because the same way it's easy for somebody if they grew up in, if you grew up in Sherman Oaks, you say LA.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Or even Pasadena. You don't go, I grew up in Pasadena. You're like, I grew up in LA.
Right.
A little north of Charlottesville is this tiny little town called Orange, Virginia. And I am from there.
Right.
And then I spent most of my time in Charlottesville as a little bit older. But halfway through high school, I smashed myself in a car wreck. My parents moved me to just outside D.C.,
right.
Where my grandparents lived. and I graduated from high school up there. So honestly, I was alone a lot when I was very young, when I was like, puberty and on. Lived on a farm. Parents were working near DC. Sisters were older than me, so we're super close now. They're the only part of my family that's actually kind of close anymore, me and my sisters. And but at the time they weren't. They were one was a senior, one was a sophomore, and I was in the 7th or 8th grade. So like I was alone. So I was like legitimately just a lonely fat kid that was just like turning to music. And a lady named Judy Peterson in the 6th grade was my music teacher.
All right.
I still talk to her on Facebook sometimes. And one day we're going to play Charlottesville, and I'm going to drag her ass backstage. So I'm going to sit her on the drum riser with earplugs, be like, watch out for the fire.
Right.
Don't move or you die, but you're going to love this. But she was my 6th grade music teacher, and she was like, you have an aptitude for rhythm. I wanted to play like flute or some shit. I remember like, I want to play music. And she was like, I think you have an aptitude for rhythm. And she clapped some rhythms, and I clapped them back. And she was like, great, you're a drummer now. And that was it.
Wow.
And by the time I got to high school, I started listening to drumline stuff. And that was really titillating, because the math of it was very titillating to me. And the precision of it, I could comprehend even without the ability to do it. I could watch when 4 people were doing something precisely together. It isn't, when people are like drumline nerds, it isn't any nerdier than watching a dance team and doing or a step crew, or anybody that's doing something that's that precise, where you're like, my God, they're all, they had to, you don't wing that. You work together to get this done, right?
Yes.
That titillated me. So I started doing that. So I was just in it. But honestly, man, what's funny is I have people my mom gave me all of her albums and was just like, play along with this, play along with that. So she gave me Rush and Zeppelin. And what I would do is, because I didn't have any teaching, and I was out in the rural country, and my mom and dad were working 2 hours away and would come home either at nights or weekends. My sisters were, so I was alone on this farm. So I didn't go to school every day. I should have. I didn't eat well. And I kind of was left, I raised myself, in those times. I would stay out in the garage with my drums. And here's what I would do. And I still think that I still tell people to do this in my clinics. I would put on the radio, and it was WJMA in Orange, Virginia. I don't even remember what style of music it was.
Right.
I put on like the classic rock channel from Richmond, or whatever JMA was, country, whatever. And I would play along with the radio for 7-8 hours. Every single thing that played, whether I knew it or not. And I would guess where it was going next. And you start to develop, it's kind of like, man, if you and I right now hopped a flight and went to Portugal.
Yeah.
And a week in, we'd be picking up Portuguese words.
Yeah.
You get bathroom and food and things like that pretty quickly, but you would start to conjugate verbs within a couple of weeks. And if we lived there for 6 months, well, fuck, we'd be speaking it.
Right.
5 years, you're Portuguese, right? You start to go, oh, when I feel it getting bigger and the chords change and the resonance gets different, a chorus is coming. And you just shift and you go, oh, they're going to go to the ride cymbal, boom, and they go to the ride cymbal. Like, so I would just play along with songs I didn't know.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't allow myself to crash and burn. I would just fish my way back to home. And I didn't know I was training myself to do what I do now. Right. And I had friends who were always like, man, are you a big Peart guy or a big Bonham guy or whatever? And I was like, yeah, I was those guys. But strangely enough, the guy that when I was like, oh shit, that feels like perfect drumming to me, was Vinny Appice.
Woo. Okay.
Vinny with Dio. When he did Last in Line and Holy Diver,
yeah,
and it was always sounded like he was doing little march stuff. He'd go,
yeah.
It was like all this, like it sounded like he was like pulling rope.
Yeah,
and I was like, that's my shit. And
right,
I didn't even know why I liked it, but I liked this, like, it was very blue collar and it was slinky, but it was also meaty. Whereas Bonham was just like,
right, yeah.
And Stuart Copeland was like,
right,
and so I would listen to the stuff like that and go, oh, there was like the guy from Triumph, Gil Moore, I think his name was.
Yeah.
I would be like, oh man, I love that. And I love, like, Myron Grumbacher from Pat Benatar. Like, I would have all these weird, I'd be like, who's the drummer for Billy Squier? I want to play like that.
Yeah.
Like, so it wasn't like the big marquee names. It was the names that I'd heard on the radio, and I was like, it was genuine because I was like, ooh, I really like that. Yeah, you like Stairway to Heaven and Black Dog for sure, but I really like that. What's that? And you're like, oh, that's a guy named Bobby Chenard who plays for Squire. And he didn't get the props he deserved. Neither did Myron. Neither does Vinny.
Nope. Not at all. Not at all.
But you listen to the Dio stuff, and if you can get through the tinny mix and the shitty, mix of it, you're like, A, it's the best metal singer that's ever lived.
Yep.
And B, that drummer is a fucking monster.
Yeah, he is. Totally is.
And that's what did it for me. And then I found my way into metal, like Dave Lombardo and Lars. And, Lars catches a lot of flack because he's not particularly smooth. His timing isn't particularly great. But here's the thing. You'd have to, if you're making a list of most influential drummers in the history of mankind, the top three in some order would be Ringo, John, and Lars.
Yeah.
Like it or not.
Yeah, right.
Whether you like him, whether you agree with me, whether he's a dick, doesn't matter.
Exactly.
I'm right.
Right.
I'm right.
No,
and it's one of those three names.
Right. No, and you're absolutely right. and Lars is a very nice guy.
Is he?
Yes, I got the pleasure of meeting him.
I've met Robert. I've met Robert, but I haven't met the other three.
Right, man. Such a nice dude, man. You will love him. He's
amazing.
absolutely awesome. He's
amazing.
Awesome. He's just like you and I. Seriously.
Perfect.
But
that's the thing. Even the people that don't like him, you have to acknowledge someone's influence.
Yeah.
I don't like Trump. I don't like Trump, but you have to go, okay, this is the influence he's having on these people.
Right.
Like, this is what he's done. If you like an artist, you're like, man, I don't know. I'm not really a Pollock guy, but he had this influence on this guy, on this guy, on this guy, on this guy. His wife had an influence on him, really.
Right.
But you have to acknowledge, to understand something, you have to at least acknowledge the influence that it has.
Right.
Right. And Lars had a massive influence on people. So I found that when I started trying to play Angel of Death.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fuck kidding me? It bended my skull. And then I heard Testament.
Oh.
And then I heard DRI. And then when I wrecked my car and I moved to DC, turns out my cousin, Dante, now he owns the Black Cat in DC.
Really?
That bar. But he was my cousin, and he was playing in all these punk bands, and I don't even know. He was playing for Grey Matter and Ignition and all these bands, and I was like, oh, Dante's like this super famous punk drummer that I didn't even know about. And I was like, guess what, Dante? I also play drums. He was like, that's awesome. You should come to this Carnivore show down at DC Space tomorrow.
Wow.
And then I saw that stuff, metal, the Carnivore, and then like me and my buddy Cajun, remember Cajun Kelly?
Yes.
Remember Cajun?
Yeah.
Cajun! Me and my buddy Cajun be like, hey, I want you to come to this show with me. And I was like 16.
Right.
I was like a child. And he'd be like, dude, you're coming to this show with me. And I was like, cool, who is it? He was like, don't worry about it. And we'd fucking go down to the old 930 Club. Remember the old? Not the new pretty expensive 930 Club. The one that was a shithole and a rat's belly.
That's what I'm talking about.
We went to that one, and these three dudes walked out. And this is the other drummer that really just hit me square here and changed my life. Everybody else had changed my life on record.
Yeah.
This is the first personal, like, oh God, moment. These three dudes walked out on stage and they launched into a song called King off of their first album, Out of the Silent Planet. And my first introduction to King's X was witnessing that 10 feet away, standing in front of Doug.
Yeah.
And watching Jerry, he's also the sweetest guy in the world too, but he looks so weird. And I just shut my eyes, and it was like he just had me by the shoulders. He was just slapping me into the floor with his beat, like drumming. I was just like, what is happening to me right now with this band?
Yeah.
And they rewired me. And I was a kid. And then from there on out, I was just like, I was craving that kind of boom, boom, bah. It's that space that Jerry would use.
Oh yeah.
And sometimes that's why I'm critical of guys who just can't stop
Just
all the shit.
playing. Yeah.
Yeah, because while I appreciate the ability to do that, and mother of God, stringing the vocabulary along to be able to play like that, I don't criticize it casually. Like, for them, it's great. I don't love it.
Right.
So when I see those dudes that are like battle drummers, you know what I mean? Man, all the respect in the world. That's what they want to do, and they do it really well. I see guys that are like for the potato, that Andy dude, and like, you know, there's dudes that are just like, I don't know what this fucking guy's doing. Guess what? I don't know what you're doing.
Right.
But like, I understand that that's the language they would like to speak with, and I respect it. I came up listening to the manipulation of space being more important than the manipulation of notes.
Yeah.
And like, if Ice is like, man, I wrote this riff and it goes like this, go, 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 go. You would go, and you'd put that snare as far on the back as you possibly could get away with.
Yeah.
Just to sit it down.
Yep.
Because we're thinking, I remember you in Laughing Colors, and you know, when I was in Egypt, we were thinking crowd motion.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't even the discussion with the other musicians as much as it was the discussion with the crowd. And it was like, we have to get them doing this.
Yes.
You know, and to me, the manipulation of space always became more important because Vinny Appice and, you know, Bobby Shonar, because of the drummers that I fell in love with early, and then seeing Jerry Gaskill with King's X that was the moment where I was like, oh, notes are cool. The gaps in between them is what sells it.
Yes. Definitely.
And that's the entire, and I could put a period there, that has remained my ethos.
Right.
To now.
Dude, I think that's what attracted me to your playing, especially when you were playing with Egypt, and then you went into Earth to Andy. I think that's when I was like, I got to talk to this dude. I need to talk to this dude because I love his playing. The way your pocket is, I had to talk to you. I was like, I don't even know this guy, but I need to talk to you. So you know what I mean? So that's to me, that's how I felt, you know, like I needed to start talking to you and just introducing myself, who I was and whatever. But yeah, I needed to talk to you, you know, because you were a drummer like me, and I loved your playing. So
likewise,
I was a fan. I was a fan.
I was of yours too. I was like, because your thing was you would make great choices. You guys had that thing where it was almost like Rocky or Matthews in a way. You had a little bit of the DMB kind of bounce.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing that you and I will probably agree on, that a lot of people that maybe listen to this because they're like, oh, that's Will from Body Count, and they probably just know metal.
Right.
Or that's their world that they're centered on. I'm a country drummer, and same girl, same. But what a lot of people don't get is that when you listen to a musician, when you fall in love with a musician of any instrument, he or she, what you're really falling in love with is the amalgam of their influences. And I was in Jimmy's Chicken Shack with your brother.
Yep.
And he and I played I'm not sure I've played better with a bass player since.
Oh, man.
Derek and I were really good together.
You guys were tight.
And because and I was like, so you and I have similarities in how we approach things, because we had some of the same experiences of playing with some of the same people and stuff. Yeah. But what a lot of people don't get is like, you can, if you really start to pay attention to the milliseconds, to the tiny stuff, the psychedelic version of the person you're looking at, you'll find that what most people would be like, their aura, it's just their experience. So you can take any drummer from Maryland, DC, Virginia.
Yeah.
Anyone within 85, 100, 130 miles of DC that maybe not now, but grew up somewhere between 85 and 2005 in that area, they all have a certain bounce.
Yeah.
Grohl has it.
Yep. Definitely.
Mike Boyd, Nathan Brown,
Yep.
you, Tamer Eid, like me, like all of us have a bounce. And that comes strictly from Go-Go.
Oh my gosh.
There was no way. There's no way to avoid it.
Right. I didn't think anybody else would say that and got that what go-go meant. Because I was trying to put that stuff into, because before I got into Laughing Colors, I was in this other, like metal band or whatever. And I told my brother, I was like, I want to put that kind of feel with go-go, but make it hard.
Yeah.
And you get it.
No, even the people that didn't listen directly to Go-Go were influenced by the friends of theirs that did. You could be at Hammerjacks listening to a metal band and you'd be like, this motherfucker is bouncing.
Right.
He's bouncing like Juju.
Yeah,
He sounds like these iconic drummers from our time,
right?
And they were older than us. He's probably 65 or something, these guys were the grandfathers of it. They played for Chuck Brown and EU and Rare Essence and Junkyard Band and like these. You would go down to the Safari Club. I went to the Safari Club one time, and I remember you'll laugh at this story because I remember my buddy from high school took me.
Okay.
And he was like, "Yo, man, you got to see." We went down there, and I went in, and I'm kind of clueless because I've had a therapist refer to me as profoundly ADHD to the point where they were like confused as to how I function. I am almost non-functional with how my brain works, right?
Right.
And this was like New Jack City, post New Jack City era DC, where it was kind of hard. It was kind of hard in DC in the late '90s, late '80s and early '90s, and on and beyond. And I remember in high school, I went to this show. It was a junkyard show, and I remember I was like, really just like, wow, that one guy's just playing the brake drum. And I was like this nerdy kid with long hair. You remember me, but I had like hair down here. I was like this metal kid. I was wearing my leather jacket. I was standing there, and I at some point, reality like tapped me in the forehead, and I was like, boink, and I looked around. And I was like, I am the only white person in this building, and I don't understand this music, and I don't understand anything, but I love it.
Yeah.
And I remember my friend next to me, he had this big dude next to him, and I was like, what am I listening? I remember going like, what am I listening to?
Oh, man.
And he slapped me on the shoulder. He was like, kid, this is Go-Go. This is Go-Go. This will change your fucking life.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm not part of this culture. I'm like a rural fucking Anglo kid from Virginia agriculture. And I was suddenly in DC at Safari Club in this whole cultural thing that like I had just, and that's the thing, a lot of people get scared or against things that they just really don't understand.
Yeah.
And thankfully my brain has been so wired so weird that I didn't know, it wasn't a fear, I just didn't understand. So I was literally just asking questions like, are they going to do a song?
Right.
And he was like, it's all the song. And sure enough, it was like, I realized that drummer didn't stop for like 55 minutes.
Yeah.
He was like, and the guy on the keyboard would just occasionally go, fam, fam.
Yeah.
There's some guy on a brake drum. There's some guy on some timbales. And some dude was on a rototom going, dun, 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 dun.
Yeah.
I was like, what am I, like, are they just jamming? He was like, no, I mean, these are their tunes. And everybody was singing along with what I was thinking was like ad-libbing.
Yeah.
But it was the part and the drums. And I remember even at that age, I was like, oh, I've played this beat. Boo, do-ga, do-ga, do-ga. I've played that, but this is different. And I figured out like, oh, that was when I first started to notice I first started to be able to conceptualize moving the notes along against a beat,
Yeah.
Holding a snare back. I started to notice that, but then I started to notice the impact that one thing could make to a beat. So if it went boom, do-ga, do, do-ga, do, do-ga, that was cool. But what I was listening to at this moment was much cooler. Why was it cooler? Because it was going do, 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 do,
Right.
the kick was just hitting every. I was like, oh, and I started doing it. So the thing is, like, even though I was not from this culture, my friends introduced me to it. It permeates you, and then you play a little bit. It permeates people listen to you. All of DC, even the punk drummers, had a bounce.
Yeah.
From go-go, and it spread out. So like all of us, it didn't matter if we were playing metal or folk or rock or country. It didn't matter what we played. Everybody had this little blip, this little like, if you could take the knob of swing and put it at like 13%, like we had the inability, we couldn't even play straight. We were just playing bouncy shit. It was just bouncing all the way. And you had it, and like everybody had it, whether you're playing ska or metal, I could hear it, and it was like, oh, wow, and then I realized, oh, this is DC.
Yeah.
This is what our thing is.
Yeah.
And then I leaned into it. And even now I'll run into drummers that do it right, quote unquote, right, where the kick drum lines up with the snare and you're like,
Yep.
You got that live record.
Dude. I noticed that when you did on Earthy Andy, a song called Ever After, in the beginning of the song. And I noticed that beat, like, yeah. And I love that. I was like, oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
I see you. You know what
and
I'm saying?
I have people that's the 13 people that heard that record.
Come on, man.
They what's funny is even Robert, not to name drop, but DeLeo, STP's bass player, and I are still friends. He and I, he pointed that out one time, and he was like, "That's like a Latin thing," because he worked on that record with us. He did the intro to one of the songs with us.
I didn't know that.
And Robert was writing with us at that time.
Oh wow! I did not know that.
Oh yeah, and he was like, "That's a Latin thing, right?" And I was like, "Well, more of a go-go thing."
Right.
I'm not very good at Latin. I'm not very good at go-go either, but I'm really not good at Latin.
Oh man.
But yeah, Robert, I was almost in a band with Robert a few years later.
Wow.
Robert and Dean and Chris Robinson from the Black Crowes.
Yeah.
Were talking to drummers, and it was like me and Sutter and I don't know who else, but it almost turned into a band that would have been phenomenal.
Oh no, and, no kidding.
And their tape somewhere. I remember the day I went in. We thank you, JoJo. My lady was like, "I made you some food. It's under your door." Slid it under my door. I remember we rehearsed it and we recorded it. It sounded like Zeppelin with Rod Stewart singing.
Wow.
And then one day, I guess Robert was just like, yeah, Chris didn't want to do it. So it just stopped. I don't know what it would have been. I don't know who would have been in it. I don't know what would have happened, but it just stopped cold in its tracks. So then,
wow.
Then I went home.
Oh,
yeah. But I have lots of those. I have lots of those stories. Those are
right.
I have tons of those. I mean, there's lots of near misses.
Right.
Sorry, man. I rambled. I don't even remember what. I got into go-go and I lost my mind because, man, I still listen to that sometimes. I'll be on the road.
Yeah.
I'll put on that, that cassette that was blue with the yellow stuff on it. It was like Live at the Safari Club Junkyard.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I finally, and it's on iTunes and shit now. Like I found it. I was like, oh no. So occasionally I'll listen to that just to remind myself of how shitty I am at go-go and how it affected me when I was a kid. That style permeated so much, of my life. And how it just kind of each area has its thing,
right.
But like anyway, it was interesting that I'm glad that you were like, yeah, I recognize it, because a lot of people, I'll say that and they'll be like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
But I think culturally, I think it's important to dive into some stuff that you just don't understand, just to see what effect it'll have, on you. I still do that.
Right.
But I listen to Junkyard on the bus every once in a while just to remind myself. And is there a cooler, like, honestly, like, if you think of cool songs, is there a cooler one than Bustin' Loose?
No.
I mean, that's kind of not.
That's a great one,
I mean, it's one of the coolest ones,
Right. I was kind of thinking, like, maybe, like, for me it was Sardines.
You make great point. We might just turn this thing into me launching iTunes and just like us playing our favorite tunes for each other.
Okay, all right. Let's get into your the country drumming and why I think for me, like, country drumming, because I'm outside of country drumming, and you're my first country drummer on this. So that's the reason why I say I gotta pick the best. I gotta call out Kevin. So
all of your metal listeners were like, I ain't watching this episode.
Right, no, whatever. They need to know about country music. Don't be ignorant, about not knowing about country music, man.
I watch metal drummers.
Right, see? But still, I wanted to see how you feel about country drumming now compared to when you were first getting into country drumming. How has it changed?
Well, I touched on it a little bit earlier in that when I first started coming here, it had just kind of turned into like this. Producers and artists were embracing and looking for rock drummers, right?
Right.
Now, what I don't love is that it has invited a lot of bad rock drumming.
Ew.
When it first started shifting into rock drumming, the references for the drumming of getting heavier, would have been Larry London, or much earlier, but he kind of stuck out. He was this colossal figure in country music drumming, and there was a couple of other drummers that kind of popped up. McHugh really, really kind of became the guy when Urban blew up, and he was doing that, and he is a staggeringly precise player.
Yeah.
He's not going to do a Kaliuta lick that makes you go, oh, but he's going to drill it into the floor,
right?
And it's not going to move. The Scotty Hawkins, and there was some other drummers that were like these meaty players, right? My friend Trey Gray was in there, but they were all very good.
Yeah.
When everyone started doing kind of bad rap country and bad rap rock country.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's easy to be like, I blame Aldine and that, his first metal country record or whatever, but it isn't. Everybody just started doing the same thing. Right.
Yeah.
So now 25 years later, it's become kind of homogenized, kind of rap country, rap rock country, however you would list it.
Right.
And the thing is, I think what happened is, and a lot of people I'm going to get so much fucking shade for this.
Why?
But because I'm going to be honest, and people don't like fucking honesty. What it did was it opened up the doors for a lot of people that wouldn't be good enough rock drummers to go to LA and make it to come here.
Got you.
And there's a lot of people doing it that aren't particularly good at it. There's some other drummers that are good at everything. Like there's a drummer, Jerry Rowe, does a lot of records in town. He's kind of one of the premier session guys. And if Jerry's he has his own band, which is kind of this kind of metal, not metal, I don't know what they would call themselves, and I'd probably catch shit if I mislabeled it. So something heavy, right. Duo. And he played for Katie Lang, and he's played for Emmylou Harris, and he's played on Luke Combs records. But the thing about Jerry is he's goddamn infuriating, because if he does if you're like, hey, play like a Bakersfield swing, like Willie Cantu on, Buck Owens, or make it sound like a Dwight Yoakam thing. He can do it.
Yeah.
perfectly, and then you can be like, cool, play a Testament song, and he'll do it perfectly. And you can go, cool, play a ska tune, and he'll do it I haven't seen the guy do anything yet that isn't done better than everybody else, and it's really infuriating. He's really good. So there are guys like him where you're like, oh,
Right.
got it, you're great.
Yeah.
You guys like Miles McPherson, who's a phenomenal rock drummer. He played for Paramore and played for Kelly Clarkson. Like he's a rock drummer. But now he's doing country records, but a lot of the country records are rock records now.
Yeah.
Like if you listen to a lot of the records that are country, they're basically in 1992 to 5 pop rock record, right? So the one thing that's a downer is that there's a lot of people that aren't particularly great at it, and there are a lot of them are pissed off that they aren't more known, more successful, have a bigger name, getting free shit, got a big gig, whatever. And it's like, man, everybody doesn't get all the pie, and, so but it has changed in that now it's kind of what used to be a short list of rock drummers, McHugh, Hawkins, there's some guy at the top. Mm-hmm. And they work their way down, Redmond would be in there. They'd find some guys, and I found my way into there. And then the rest were country drummers. Now I can only list, if you're like, man, tell me your favorite country drummer, the guys that can really make that feel that, because earlier country, what a lot of people say when they say, man, I love the old country, Hank and stuff like that. Yeah. If you were able to mute those channels and really pay attention, the drumming isn't a lot different than R&B drumming. It's a little less bounce, but the approach is not much different.
Right.
And there's a very specific way of doing like 83 to 94 country. And if you were like, who are those guys? I used to be able to be like, oh, well, that's everybody in town except for like these 10 dudes that do rock. Now it's the opposite. Now I'd be like, okay, my tech, Will, is one of the best at it. A guy named David Black is one of the best at it. My favorite country drummer in this city is a kid named Jake Gammon. Like there's like these list of guys that I'd be like, that guy, if you wanted something to sound like legitimate old school country,
yeah, I'm
not your guy. That's your guy. And as a matter of fact, when I played a couple of legitimately country tunes on this record that Jon wrote that were just like, they're classic country, I asked myself what I thought that Jake and David and Will would play.
Right.
And I just did that.
Dude.
So it has changed in that now it's almost a whole rock thing. And now a lot of albums are coming out. They're all beat detectived.
Yeah.
A lot of sound replacing. A lot of times they're just programming the beats and they're not really people. Yeah. There's a lot of guys in town that are, I'm the Ableton dude.
Yeah.
A lot of people trying to be MDs that aren't actually musicians. A lot of artists that are trying to be artists that aren't actually musicians.
Right.
And I guess it's the same it's a microcosmic version of the whole Pro Tools debate, which is now that you can, there's a whole lot of coulda and not a lot of shoulda. So there's now you can remix something 150,000 times. So they do. Right. And they overproduce things and they overdo things. And now it's just easy for a lot of people to just be like, beat detective, sound replace, slate, boom, guitar, bass, and they'll get the song out in an afternoon, which is why we really love this new record with Jon, because we went in with Jay Joyce. We sat in an old church that he bought and turned into a recording studio. We did 3 weeks. We did pre-production. We chewed it out. The songs are really the drums. They're not beat detective. We talked about it. And what we did was we would play through it 15, 20 times. Yeah. Without rolling tape, without rolling the red light. Right. Making it right. So then when I did it, I think one of the tunes took like 3 takes. Yeah. And the rest are like the first and second time I did them. Like he was like, cool, the drums are done. Right. Let's add the acoustic guitar now. So like we worked. Yeah. So the drumming in Nashville is it's almost all rock now. Yeah. A lot of it is really good. There's a lot of really good players, but it's the same. It's the same argument that people are like, "There's no good music now," and it's like, shut the fuck up. There's 50,000 new songs hit Spotify a day.
Right. Yeah.
There's plenty of great music in the world in every genre.
Yeah.
It's not just Kendrick, or it's
Yeah.
not just, Jon Pardi, or it's not just Adele. It's like you pick any one of those genres. There's tons of people doing phenomenal shit.
Yeah.
You have to weed through more stuff to get to them.
Oh, you do.
So in Nashville now, there's probably 7,000 drummers here.
Yeah. Damn.
A lot of them are really good.
Yeah.
A lot of them should have stayed at home and worked longer and gotten better.
Mm.
But what are you going to argue with them? Telling somebody they shouldn't be chasing their dream? I know some people that are playing kind of arenas that probably should take some lessons.
Yeah.
You know, I've taken a lesson with Elitch. Like if Matt Chamberlain comes to town next month and will give me a lesson, I will take that lesson.
See,
so grow.
I saw you do. I think Elitch was doing some drum clinic, and I saw you in the video, and I wasn't expecting seeing you at all. It showed your face was like, like I don't know if it was the first time you met Dave or not, but phenomenal drummer. But
I don't remember when that was, but I'm friends with Dave.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. I'm not sure that I know anyone that has a better grasp on the mechanics of this.
Yeah.
And I think that's worthwhile, even if what you're doing doesn't seem like it can benefit from that.
Yeah.
If you're assuming that, you're probably wrong.
Yeah.
We've all seen guys and girls that set up their kit. Like I've sat at Carter Beauford's kit, and it's a nightmare to play.
Oh wow.
Flat snare, snare's flat, toms are, it's like
up there.
I don't know how he does it,
right?
But he does.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
By the rules that I applied to myself that I learned from Dave, as far as like certain where my hips are and what my legs are doing. Carter's probably technically doing it wrong, but he sounds like him doing it. So is it wrong? No, but like it's always worth it's worth reviewing the approach. Right. I can't play off the bass drum head at all times. There are certain songs where it feels right off. It's like, fuck you. Here's sorry. And that song's never going to not have me doing that.
Right.
And other ones, I'm going to feather it off and be like, boom.
Yeah.
Gat,
yeah.
Boom, boom. Gat,
Yeah.
But like, I'm going to take inventory. There are drummers that, that play stuff that I don't care about.
Yeah. Yeah.
At all. The battle drumming thing, don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care. But I also, I'm from a different era. I'm from a different culture. I have a different job. I make a W-2 playing drums.
Yeah.
Some of the, I love, to me, part of that is the thrill of taking something that shouldn't be in my wheelhouse and making it my wheelhouse and doing it better than. I don't want Jon Pardi to ever see or hear anyone and be like, that guy's better than Kevin.
Right.
Because I live in Nashville. If he does, I'm fucked.
Yeah.
Because in Nashville, they'll get rid of you. If they see better for them, they're gone.
Wow.
They'll replace you.
Right.
I want Jon to wake up every day thinking I'm the best drummer on planet Earth for what he does.
Yeah.
So I don't really need, when I see, Mike or Eric or any of these guys are just phenomenal players.
Oh my gosh.
It isn't something that I require. I have some of that vocabulary. I don't string it together as well as those guys do. Right. And a lot of people don't understand that what seems like free flowing is fragments of it's sentences that they're piecing together as we would a paragraph.
Yeah.
And they don't really, a lot of people don't think like that. But I can pick up on stuff and be like, oh yeah, okay. And I'll interject a little, I'll just here and there, I'll pick up stuff, even from stuff that isn't in my wheelhouse. The same way you would watching Tony Williams. None of us need to play kind of anything ever the way Tony or Elvin played.
True. Very true.
Or Jeff Hamilton, or one of the, like I don't need to do anything that those men and Terry Lynn Carrington, or like I could rattle off 50 drummers that are phenomenal.
Yeah.
But I don't need anything that they do.
Yep.
Is it stupid to listen to them?
No.
Exactly. So even the guys like, I don't think there's a better example of a solo over a song like Eric's Get Your Freak On video from
Oh yeah.
that aquarium video. I don't think there's a better, like, it's really, for that, it's the apex predator of that kind of video,
Yep. Yep.
But I don't, it doesn't, it's not my thing, right?
Yeah.
But I have to watch it. The same with, and it's like that for anything. If I listen to, like, if I see a guy doing really slow, wide cross stick, I don't go like, fuck, song's boring, and go about my business. I ask myself, how many milliseconds is he holding that cross stick back? The tip is in the bead is in the snare head, and he's using the butt is on the thing, and it sounds more like a clave. I'm going to steal that. Then I saw my cue doing once going like this, tapping, boom, vroom, vroom.
Yeah.
And I was like, shit, and I stole that.
Right.
Like, and that was from a really boring country song.
Right.
That
There's nothing wrong with that at all.
So I try to listen to everything, and if it's some guy that's raging and his whole Instagram page is just kind of shitting on other drummers, he's just like this fast player or whatever, I'm like, okay, well, I'm at least going to watch him and be like, man, what's he doing for him?
Yeah.
And and I got that from, I'm rambling, I know, but
No.
I used to judge indoor drumline for WGI.
Right.
And I judged on the regional area of Virginia, and I eventually pulled myself out of doing that because they were getting too good for me to judge them well. And I thought I had to honor them. I'm not going to let them work all winter just so I can place them just so I can give them the wrong score, because I can't keep up with what they're doing.
Right.
But part of that criteria for judging was very interesting, and I've applied it beyond. Part of the criteria of judging those drum lines, when you're like, oh, these guys are nerds, it's like, it's just nerd shit. But what's interesting about those nerds is that A, they're children and they shouldn't be that good, but B, the criteria of judging them for the PA judge, which is the guy doing performance analysis, it isn't just how well they're doing that. You're part of the criteria, it may not be now, but it was when I was doing it, was I have to interpret what the writer wanted. And how well are they playing what I think the intention of the composer was. And that's a layer, right? That's like, boom, here's the drumming, and you have to pull down 2 layers, and here's the meat of that concept. And for me, that's what I listen to when I listen to drummers. And and if they're like, hey man, what do you think of this? I don't just be like, good job, bro.
Right.
I listen to it and I'm like, okay, I try to figure out what their intent is. And if they're playing just to keep themselves busy, and we've all done it. We've all had a buddy at the monitor desk and we're like, watch this. We've all burned our kit down for our buddy at the monitor desk. We've all fucking done it. But like when I see somebody that's just like playing just for themselves, then I think, okay, well then you're a soloist. And if all you want to do is push your ability on the kit, you're doing it fantastic, great. Right. I won't judge you negatively for that. But what I do is playing with other people. So when somebody else is trying to do what I do, I go, okay, well, is Dorsey getting out of Ice's way?
Right.
Or is he giving it to him down low so Ice can fly?
Yeah.
Or is he fighting him?
Yeah.
And then and I have friends that are brutal with me, and my close group of friends, a lot of people I don't let into I'm friends with, but I don't let them into my tiny circle, because I need to know they can do what my friends do. I played a tour we were opening up for Brad Paisley years ago when I first met Ben Caesar, Brad's drummer. All right. And Ben is a phenomenal drummer, but a lot of people don't know he played for Missing Persons before he played for Brad Paisley. Like, he is the dude can drum, right? Okay. And we had just met each other. We were like 3 weeks into our friendship, and we're backstage, and I walk off deck one time, play a show, and it was solid C work. It was not a good, I did not play well.
Oh man.
I didn't play well. I don't know what it was, but it didn't lock. It never locked in. The whole night I was just playing all the right notes, but it didn't feel good.
Right.
And I walked off stage, and I was like back when I smoked, and I lit a cigarette. I was standing there, and Ben came over. They're clearing the deck, getting ready for him, and he came over and he was like, "Whew, boy, that was not your best work."
Oh.
And I was like, and I remember going like, instead of getting sandy about it, I was like, this is the kind of friend that is valuable.
Yeah.
Because they're the kind of friend that's going to be like, man, you're better than that. You're a really good drummer. You've been doing this. How many years you been doing this? And at this point, I've been on the road professionally since 93. So 32 years I've been playing drums for a living.
Yeah.
And I only took I took a year off when Tonic took a break and I was like doing construction or whatever. But as a general rule, I've paid every bill for 32 years playing drums.
Yeah.
And it's been in metal bands, ska bands, pop bands, country band. Like I've done almost every genre except for like a Slipknot level, like, metal. And no jazz, because I fucking suck at jazz. I'm a liar. I'm a liar. If I'm playing Latin or jazz, somebody that really does it is in the back room like, "You, sir, are lying. You're lying." But
can I interrupt you for 1 second? So,
please interrupt me, Will.
No, because that's why I love you, because you used to get on me as well. Like, because when I was playing with Laughing Colors, of course, I would have these small toms. And I remember, I think it was like New Year's or something like that. It's like, you know what? I like you, Dorsey, because you played them little toms. And you say, I'm like, what? Right.
Man, I know I was just giving you shit, but like,
yeah,
I think I was probably trying to make a statement about like the robust sound of it, because you were hitting these. But the thing is, though, for what your band was doing,
oh man,
it needed to be fast, right?
Yeah,
what your band did, and that's the thing. Like, listen to some of these guys, and I hate the term church drumming because that's bullshit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Because every church lick you've ever heard, I heard Vinny do on Joe's Garage. So it's just a misnomer that they're calling it something that it is. It's kind of like people that call like this. They call that a 6-stroke roll, and that's bullshit. Those are 6 tuplets.
Right.
The sticking is like a 6-stroke roll, but a 6-stroke roll goes. It's like it's 16ths. Anyway.
Yeah.
When I watch the kind of chops drummers, if you'll notice, all their toms are tuned. Their drums sound like shit. Their toms are tuned dead.
Yeah.
But they sound like shit for what I would do.
Right. Yeah.
But if you played those licks on my kit, which is single ply, top and bottom, like boom, like the toms go forever. Like if you played some of those licks on my drums, it would be a mess.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be able to mix it. It would just be this flurry of disgusting like sound banging into each other. But you have to tune them kind of dead, right?
Yeah.
For what you were doing, they were perfect. But I had to give you shit because at the time I was in Egypt and it was like 20, 24, 13, 16.
Yeah.
Cocaine.
Right.
It was like,
yeah.
I was just trying to, I was playing like, Egypt was like Parliament Black Sabbath. I was playing like big sounds,
Big drums.
Big drums.
Big drums.
I like your small toms, Dorsey. I'm going to do this for you, my contact picture for you. Right. I'm such an asshole. It's amazing.
I love it, Joe. I love it. So that's why I say, man, I like this guy. Someone that gives me shit, like that, man. So that's why, man.
I mean, but I still have some friends. I still have a lot of them that are like, when we critique each other, it can be honest.
Yeah.
I can be like, man, for that, I think the grace notes were a little heavy. The ghost notes were a little busy. You know, it seems to be like hitting the singer a little bit.
Yeah.
And sometimes they'll argue, or sometimes they'll be like, I didn't ask your fucking opinion. You know, but like, you know, I always come from, I will say this, I can be a jerk, but it never, I never try to come from a place of either dishonesty or vitriol. Like, I'm never just like, I don't like you. I don't give opinions to drummers I don't like, or people I don't like. There's a couple drummers I don't really mesh with what they do. Yeah. And I don't interact with them, you know? And if they asked me, I would be honest. It's probably why they don't ask me.
Right.
But man, people come in here and do lessons with me all the time and do Zoom lessons. And I think that people are getting tired of, I love the community of drumming, the whole jam band, the whole jam card community thing where everybody's like, we're a community, blah, blah, blah. But it also can go a little far sometimes when you're all just fluffing each other. You're like, that was great, bro. Fire emoji. Boo. And it's like, nah, man, that was garbage drumming. Why are you hyping this fucking dude? Like, no, you should have deleted that video.
Right.
And you should have started over, you know, or it's just like, it's okay. Like, hey man, great job, you know, but like, I don't want to be false about anything, because I think that diminishes it. You know, I talk too much, as we've all found out today. I ramble. I'm mentally ill, so I'm just kind of, you know, but even as much as I talk and ramble, I think people have learned, at least my friends know, that like it comes from a sense of honesty. It comes from a sense of love, a place of love. It comes from my idea that this is what I want from people. Mm-hmm. So if you sent me the new Body Count record and you're like, man, I want you to tear this down for me, tell me what you like, what you don't like, I'd be like, cool, give me several days.
Yeah.
You know, and I would do that because I've known you for 20 something years. Yeah. 25 at least, but probably more like 28, 27.
It's got to be almost 30, man. You know?
Yeah. So like, and I consider you a friend. I respect you. I love you. I love your playing. So I would want to.
Same here. I love your playing, man.
I would want to do, well, thank you. I would want to do what I did for those kids when I bailed out of judging. I did it because they deserved somebody that would pay attention and could understand what they were trying to achieve. And I no longer had the ability to keep up with the speed at which they were progressing. So I had to pull myself out. So I didn't, they're children. They work so hard. And if somebody puts them in fifth and they should have been in third, man, this might be the last year of they might never drum again. After this week in Dayton, Ohio, they may never play drums again. And I fucked their score up. Like, I don't want to ever be in that position, right? Yeah. So when people ask me, I go, cool, I'm going to listen. People send me stuff all the time in DM. Hey, will you listen to this? I'm like, yeah. And I get back to them like 6 months later. I'm like, sorry, I'm mentally ill. But last night I listened to it, and you know, and I think my lessons are like that. You know, a lot of people are like, I want to work on my feel or whatever. How do we approach that? And I take an honest look at what they're playing. You ever go into a lesson or whatever, and the person giving you the lesson, they don't ask you to play?
Oh, yeah.
It's like, the fuck are you doing? You don't know how I play.
Right. That's
like going into somebody's like, oh, man, Chris Lord Alge pissed me off one time. We paid like $4,000 a song. This is 1,000 years ago to mix this record Earth Andy was doing.
Yeah.
And he just like, he just like plugged it in and turned on the rock settings. And it was like, and listened to it. He's like, yeah, we're almost there. And just started tweeting. I was like, you didn't even listen to it. Like, let's put it in the car and listen to it.
Right.
That might have just been that day. He's a phenomenal mixer, you know, but like producers that produce songs and they're just like, they don't listen. You know, like, play the song for me in this room. Pick up a guitar and play it for me. What's the lyrics about? Yeah. Drummers that don't play the lyrics, which is wild for you, because there's a lot of like, if you stay true to the lyrics of Body Count, you won't have rotator cuffs by the end of your show.
Oh yeah.
You know, there's a lot of aggression. There's a lot more depth than I think people think when you really. So I get a lyric sheet, not so much anymore, because now I can kind of hear it, you know, with Jon, and I'm not going in with Jon. But when I play other people's sessions that aren't Jon, I get a lyric sheet, and they always look at me like I'm stupid.
Why?
And I'm like, no, because here's the thing. I got to give this to Emerson, lead singer of Tonic.
Okay.
I was just supposed to fill in for a month.
Oh, that
And
was
it turned,
it.
yeah, it turned into 11 years, but I was just supposed to fill in. And I played, and he came to my hotel room that night, and he was like, Brian, our tour manager, he was like, Brian's going to bring you my lyrics tonight, printed out. He was like, I'd like you to stay on, but like, I want you to play with me. And I was like, well, I was playing with you because I was thinking about the guitar, and because I was but I was better than most at doing that at that time. But he really changed my life, and I'll always respect him for this, and I'll always love him for this as a friend, because he was like, man, remember that fill? And if you could only see, remember that fill going into the bridge? We were like, God, you did something fast. And I was like, oh yeah. And I remember the fill, and dude, I burned it down. It was beautiful. I was like, it was a great fill. And I nailed it. First night, 15,000 people. It was like, man, look at my dick. It was great. It was great. I nailed it. I nailed it.
Yeah.
And he was in my hotel room 3 hours later, and he was like, yeah. If I told you that song was about my mom refusing to come to my wedding because she didn't believe in the relationship, would you have played that fill? And I was like, that fill does not belong there at all.
Oh.
And he was like, no, it doesn't. And I was like, what's Soldier's Daughter about? He was like, that's about abuse. And I was like, no. Oh, I've got to go. God. So he started playing me this one song, Soldier's Daughter. He was like, started to explain it to me. And I was like, oh, this song needs to sound like, this needs to sound the way a kid hears someone coming that they do not want to interact with.
Yeah.
So I need to just go, I need to sound like somebody stomping down the hallway when I play that. No ghost notes, no piddly bullshit. I need to just to be scary, right? So from there on out, like Tonic changed my life for that reason, because they would explain like, oh, Emerson was like, this is about my, when we did his solo record years later, it's like Cigarettes and Gasoline. He was like, man, I need this to sound droning, and I need it to sound depressed, and I need it to sound like there's violence underneath it. And I was like, man, you're asking me to be like a method actor almost. And he was like, well, I need it because this is how I felt when we lived back in Jersey, and a couple of mob guys met us at the door, my dad opened the door, and they took my dad out, and one of them turned around and looked at me and said, if you need your dad, I'll be in the Atlantic. And I never saw my dad again.
Oh my
and I was like,
gosh.
Why am I playing all these happy beats? Like, that's the worst thing I've ever heard in my life, and I was playing, and when you do, that's a lift, right? That's a, that's a, you're holding hands with your lady or your dude, or you got a dog in your lap, like, boom. No, that does not belong with Parents in the Atlantic.
Yeah.
I've got to go, everything has to be wrong about this beat, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't pay attention to that. And even if it's country and you think it's like, oh, it's a beer song or whatever, we'll make it bounce. Beer song should be fun. Oh, it's a silly song about tailgates. Oh, cool. Tailgates. Okay. Make it fun.
Yeah.
How do you make the beat fun? How do you make the beat sad if they're singing about divorce? How do you make the beat, we can do more with our non-melodic instrument than people are asked to do typically. And I don't know if it's noticed. I don't know if Jon notices. I don't know but I think that it's a subliminal thing where they notice it, kind of like if you go to an EDM show and you take the bass and you take the lowest bass knob and you just turn it down, the bounce they'll slow down. And you turn the bass up, you turn that lowest bass up that you don't even hear, and they start pumping more. Like, it's a subliminal thing. They barely know why they're doing it. And I think people may appreciate the drumming and not know why they appreciate it if you're just paying attention and playing something with the intent that it was written with. I think that's important. It seems like that's been important for me.
Today's episode is brought to you by our sponsor, eRecord Studio, the new way musicians rehearse, record, and share their eRecord sessions on social media. Visit ERS on eRecordstudio.com. download this amazing app on Google and Apple apps stores.
I was going to say, like during your like recording and during your live performance, and I noticed in some of your like in some of your Instagram stuff that you've been putting out with the big dumb Phil.
The big dumb Phil. That started as a joke. Here's the thing about Jon.
Yeah.
The artist I work for, we have this running gag with him where, some people go, less is more, but Jon goes, more is more. So
he seems like a fun guy to work for, man.
No, he's pretty fun. And,
that's awesome, man.
And I don't even know what the part is on the record that Miles played, but because I listened to it once, like 7 years ago, and I've never listened to it since. We do our version.
Yeah. But
it needed to be. It's a setup, right? It goes, boom, boom, boom. It's just pounding along, and they're setting up their guitar solo.
Yeah.
At the end of 4 bars, it goes boom, 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 fill, 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 smash, guitar solo. So it has to be this thing. And I thought, again, it might be one of those moments that is overthought, but it worked for us, where I thought, it needs to be disruptive. It's not just a fill. It needs to separate the listener from time so they don't feel comfortable anymore. So when we land into the solo, they're comforted and they're just like, yeah, solo. Right. There it is. Boom. So I want to do something kind of wild, but I thought triplets would be too far. Right. Quintuplets or some shit like that I could, I can do it.
Yeah. Oh, of course you can.
I'm a math rock dork. I can play sevenlets, but I was like, that's going to be a little too much. That's going to sound, it's going to sound like kind of some of the drumming that I don't like these days. It's kind of like for the sake of it, the thing for the sake of the thing rather than in service of anything else. And I thought, okay, we're going to keep it duple based. And I thought, I'll just make it 30-second notes. Boom.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, so that whole fill, it ain't hard. And when people ask me about it, I go, okay, hit on one and then go, check it, smash. But just your hands, just move them wherever. So exactly. It goes boom. Yeah. So it looks harder than it is. And you need a fast foot because I have a single pedal, but you're like, it's not that fast. It's not like, it's like Mike Mitchell fast. It's not Breedlove or whatever that kid. You ever seen that Xavier or whatever?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
The fuck is he doing?
Oh
What's that guy doing?
I don't know.
Hey kid, what are you doing? What are you doing, kid?
Right,
but it's not that fast. But it's just like, and people ask. But what's funny is it opens up a conversation where they can start to realize that, not only, it's big and dumb, but there is thought to it. Mm-hmm. And there is a purpose to it. I purposely chose that moment to not completely detach the listener from time.
Yeah.
But to pull them out of the pocket just a little.
Yeah.
So I could drop them back in. Because when I go, smash, I go, boosh, gah, boom.
Right.
It's this huge, dumb beat afterwards that is just settled. So even though the reason I joke about it is because the irony, like there is a lot of thought that went into it. Like I wanted to pull them back and drop them in to some comfort, and that's what I chose. And I didn't want to go too far with triplets or quintuplets, or I could have gone boom. I could have done the bridge from Keep It Greasy, right? Or Catholic Girls, ding ding, ding ding, I could have done something like that.
Oh my god!
But that would have just then it would just been some fucking stupid weird lick.
Yeah.
So even though that's taken on a life of its own as far as like the big dumb lick thing, it's like there was so much thought going into it that I think it's funny to call it that.
Right.
But I actually get away with a lot of those moments for a country gig. Like I have a lot of moments where I do a little gag thing where I go, I have some moments in the show where I get to do stuff But I think about all of them. And even if it looks like I'm just kind of throwing them in, I'm choosing where. And a lot of people I've had people in my YouTube, and I get DMs all the time, just hateful shit.
Really?
Oh yeah, people are like, "Oh man, you're a chump. You ain't no fucking blah blah blah." And I can understand that they may not understand what I am going for, but they also inevitably it's people, and I'm not trying to like big dick anybody or be like, "Yeah, you just don't know," but like it's people that have never played at this level.
Yeah.
And even if they're a better drummer than me, perhaps they haven't been in a really big room where the penalty for failure is pretty profound.
Oh my gosh.
There's 7 other people on stage with me playing.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of them are drunk.
Yep.
A couple of them feel things different than the click is. Jon is ahead because he's a very excitable dude. So he's playing ahead. He's singing ahead.
Yeah.
He's responsible for talking to the crowd. So it's that manic thing. And most singers do it. Like Carter has told me that Carter's been like, Dave just runs away with satellite. It's like, yeah, they're responsible for more, right? But you're doing that. 7 people. There's different feels. There's fire going off behind you. The sound bleeding into your ears is a quarter note behind the sound that is coming through your ears from the monitor desk.
Yeah.
Like you cannot get off of the time code because the time code is running the $1.5 million TV screen behind you.
Yep.
And if that gets off, the cryo is off, and then the guitar player will be in the wrong spot when the fire pops, and they're like, everything ties together in this really, really incredible way that like it has to be choreographed to a degree, and it has to be, they're like, I'd never play with a click when I was coming up, and it's like, you never played a stadium,
right?
Sorry to be a dick,
right?
But like my smallest show this year is, I think Jon said, man, we're doing, he's growing. He's not an A-list yet. He's not like a Luke Combs or Luke Bryan or Gaga level, but he's that second tier. And he was like, our smallest show is like 13,000 people this year.
Yeah.
And that's the low end, and the big one will be 100. So like, there's a lot of penalty for like just doing something that you haven't done before or they're not ready for. And the guys that are like, yeah, you play like shit. I would play gross notes and all this fast stuff. It's like, man, do you have any idea what that sounds like in section 309?
Yeah.
400 feet away and 120 feet up from my kit and those speakers. Do you have any idea what, you know what that's going to sound like? It's going to sound like somebody shooting an AK-47 at a floor tom factory. It's not going to sound like anything. It's just going to go.
Good. Yeah. Yeah.
So you have to choose, but when they're not playing, my front of house guy knows, oh, this Phil's coming, the big dumb Phil.
Yeah.
He knows that they all hit a note. Jon isn't singing, and he has a macro where he goes, boop, and the transients of my toms go. So
okay.
So
that's nice.
In that moment, it speaks louder.
Yeah.
It speaks more defined. And then it drops back down in the mix.
Yeah.
For the rest of my shit. So the people that are like, yeah, we just wing it. Fish doesn't even wing it. They've done the thing they're winging. They've done it. They did it 4 nights ago, or when you get to a certain level, it has to have some consistency, and you have to think about how many people are on deck, how big the room is, how many, there's a lot going on. And the people that I try not to get in the thing and be like, well, fuck you. I try not to be too hard on them, because a lot of people have pretty strong opinions about me and my drumming and just the genre or whatever. And they just don't understand how it works.
Right.
They haven't done it. It's kind of like people are like, man, I would have done that different on the record. And it was like, what record? The record that Keith Carlock just did? You would have done something different than Keith?
Right.
You're never going to get a chance to do something different than Keith. Keith was sitting in a room with Donald fucking Fagen, and you don't think they talked about the drum beat? You would have done something different, Bill.
Yeah. Yeah. Come on.
No, you wouldn't have.
Come on.
You would have been fired. You would have done something different at the sub shop down the street, because you would have, if you looked at Donald Fagen or Jon Pardi, if I went like, no, man, I'm doing this, Jon would have been like, well, fuck you. My record.
Right.
We have to work with each other. I'll be like, man, I can do this, 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 and this. There are times we track stuff where I'd be like, let me play the 4 or 5 ideas I have for this verse and see which one makes you want to dance.
Yeah.
And we'd all play it. He'd be like, cool, give me 2. And I'd get to see it. He'd be like, that one. I don't even want to hear D&E. Just play that. Like, there's a lot that goes into this that a lot of people don't
Man,
understand.
I was going to say that, this is very important. Everybody should listen. Talking about, especially for the young folks getting into this business, listening to what you're saying, this whole way that you're talking about. This is very important stuff that everybody should know. This is what goes into, songwriting. Doesn't matter if it's on stage, doesn't matter, especially for recording, especially for that. Listen to what Kevin's saying. This is very important. So,
Yeah.
man,
I mean, if you don't want somebody else weighing in, then write your own shit, be the boss, and do it all yourself.
Exactly.
Any other instance where you're going to be playing with someone else, even one other person, you are either fully collaborative or you are failing.
Yeah. Man, I wanted to ask you, did you, I think you already answered this though, but you stopped for a little while playing drums, right?
Briefly.
Yeah.
Tonic took a break. And I was okay with that because I was really, those guys hurt my heart. I don't know. I'm looking back, I might not have been ready, but I feel like I was at the time. I'd been with them for a long time, and they were going in to do an album called Head On Straight, and I did all the pre-production. It sounded great, and they used Joey Waronker to do the record, and I wanted to be a band member.
Yeah,
I wanted to do the record at least, and they shut me out. And
wow.
And I didn't know if I wanted to play with them anymore. So there was a while where when they would take their little breaks, I was happy to.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to see them. I was furious.
Yeah.
If I had had somewhere to go, I would have told them to fuck off and never spoken to any of them. And I'm glad I didn't because I'm friends with them still.
Yeah.
But I was hurt. I feel like I had put in my time and my effort. And the funny thing is, when I listened to that, I listened to that record a couple months ago, and a lot of the stuff that Joey's doing, he obviously listened to the pre-production stuff and liked the feel or liked the direction that I was going in because he used some, he did the same kind of stuff, right. And I think I could have made the same record.
Yeah.
But I know they're tight with Joey and they're friends with Joey, and I love Joey. I don't know him, but I love his playing, and I'm excited to see him with Oasis this year. Right. But I was hurt.
Yeah.
So when they took their break, I was happy to.
Yeah.
And now that I'm in country, kind of every other winter is a full break.
Right. Okay.
They do. Everybody plays in the summer, and then every other winter you do like some casino winters. You go to Mexico and do like the Big Luke Bryan Festival or whatever. But like you fill in the winter. Like this winter we were pretty busy. Yeah. But I don't. I play like 70 shows a year, maybe. I don't know.
Damn.
Somewhere between 50 and 70, probably. No more than that. With Egypt we would do 200.
Right. Oh man. How much were you playing with when you were with Earth Andy and Jimmy Chicken Shack?
Less than Egypt, but Earth Andy was pretty busy. We toured with Tonic, we toured with Fuel, we toured with Stone Temple Pilots. We were out trying to make it. Yeah. And that band sounded like, I don't know, Soundgarden with the Beatles singing, but more pop. And
dude, it was fucking awesome, man. That's how I felt about y'all. I said these dudes are out of here.
We were all singing. We were all. It was kind of like Jellyfish, but heavier. Yeah. And we were trying to make it, and the label just blew it. But what? Who of us doesn't have that story?
Yeah. Yeah.
You've put out records. All of us were on the precipice of something. I've signed 7 record deals in my life.
Damn.
And the most success I've ever had has been as a side guy.
All right.
All the bands that I owned or was part owner of just didn't make it. And I, Earth to Andy's failure is responsible for the Disturbed success.
Oh man.
Our budget of 12 million went to them when the label decided that they weren't going to work us anymore. Our
Yeah.
entire budget they signed to the Disturbed and gave it to them.
Oh man.
One day I'm going to meet Mike Wengren and be like,
Right.
you owe me, you owe me a cup of coffee because my band didn't make it. But I remember Jeff, our rep was named Jeff Aldrich.
Okay. Yeah.
And I remember Jeff going, "You're done. Where this entire budget is gonna, I think it's gonna end up pushing this kind of more active rock band that they've signed.
Yeah.
That another part of our label has, another part of the Warner Brothers, this universe or whatever has signed. I think we're going to funnel it that way. At least that's what I heard. And I was like, okay.
Wow.
But but you know, that year was I forget what year it was, but it was just every interaction of my year was just a fresh new kick in the balls.
Oh man.
And it culminated in this one moment in Warner. I forget what building we were in. I think it was the Olive Ave building in Burbank. Right. I forget where we were, but we had just gone and like raided the vault and taken some stuff and taken some CDs or whatever. And I came out and I was by myself and I was going to go have a cigarette. And I saw Donald Fagen and he was walking towards me. And I was like, and I didn't do the big thing. I did like, honestly, dude, I'm not lying. I didn't do like a 20-minute thing. I was like, Mr. Fagen, man, I'm so excited to meet you. You're a huge part of my life. I really appreciate everything, you know, blah, blah, blah. And I just wanted to say hello. I'm on a label. I'm on this label too. And he literally he slapped me on the shoulder. He was like, great. He kept walking. So that was the time I met Donald Fagen. So obviously we're best friends.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. He was just like, great. Just kept. He didn't even slow down. I did all that as he was approaching me, and he just kept. He just kept going. He was like, kept going. And I was just like, I didn't even turn around to look. I just stood there, just like.
Right.
I had another one where I was at some jam. Yeah. And I got to play with a bunch of people or whatever. And afterwards I saw Gene Lake. Okay. You know Gene? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. So there are drummers out there that don't know who he is and they're gonna run to find out who Gene is. Yeah. And Michelle and Cello, and there was a couple. David Sanchez was there. There was a bunch of people at this jam, and when she was leaving, they were obviously going to another jam, and I said something or whatever, and I was like, I want to go to the jam that y'all are going to, jokingly, whatever, and she just went, "You ain't ready." And I was like. And I remember Andy of Earth Andy was behind me and it was like we were smoking and he turned around, he was like, that was kind of hard. And I was like, she's right. she's absolutely right. Yeah. Anyway, I'm sorry, I ramble. Man. I ramble, Will. Steve's gonna be so mad at us.
Right? No, man. It's all good. It's all good. Man, let's nerd out for a minute. Okay. I see you got your drums behind you. Right. And I want to thank you for something else as well. Thank you for getting me into Aquarian Heads.
Our boy Chris Brady, I just talked to him.
Did you really?
I just took a couple days ago.
Yeah, man. What a great company.
Here's the thing. I don't like deals with I refuse to use something that I don't like,
Yeah.
And I refuse to be in something with people I don't like.
Yeah.
Roy signed me. I loved Roy.
Yeah.
Brady has been my rep since I started, and I think I got with him in the late 90s.
Yeah.
So I think I've been with him for 20-something, 25, 26, 27 years.
Yeah.
And you know, let's be perfectly honest. In the drumhead world, the apex predator is the Remo Emperor, right?
Yep.
And Evans makes their version, and Aquarian makes the response to. I have found
Yep.
that the Super 2 clear is actually closer
Yeah.
to an Emperor.
Yeah.
And I love them. I am gonna try this. The guys want more snap
Yeah.
than the Super 2s give it. So I'm gonna try to use classic clears top and bottom. That means I'm gonna burn through heads faster.
Yeah.
So Chris is trying to help me figure out like what to use.
Yeah.
But the thing about Chris is like we'll talk on the phone for 45 minutes about life, and at the very end, it'll be like, do you need something? I'll be like, yeah, I need 60 heads. And it'll be like, I can't give you 60 heads. How about 12? And I'll be like, it's fine. But I consider Chris a friend. And matter of fact, I told him last week, he was like, man, these new owners, I don't know what's, I can't send you everything right now because everybody's starting their tours and everybody's asking for their same stuff all at once.
Yep.
And, we can't give out 10,000 heads all at once,
Yeah.
And I was like, totally understand. Send me a little care package. Get me a couple of tops, get me going for the first couple of weeks of this tour. He was like, great. And I let him know that I was like, man, I know you got new owners and stuff like that. If they decide that like, I'm not, like they're going to give Eric Moore as much as he wants because he gets, he doesn't have actually do gigs a lot, but like he's such a presence that he's influential, right? And Tosh just got the Gaga gig.
Yep.
And I don't know Tosh, but he seems like a real sweetheart. And
He
he's the guy pushing beyond. He took the Travis.
Yes, he did.
And he's like he's pulling it back to launch it further. The Barker thing.
Yeah.
Which was an amalgam of. Which was an extension of the Tommy Lee thing, they're the steps, right?
Yep.
And I love Travis.
Yeah.
But those guys aren't gonna, I was like, I know those guys are like hot shit, but like if your new bosses decide that like I'm not doing enough and like they want to drop me or whatever, man, just let me know. It's cool. And I love you.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, like, I love Chris.
Yes.
And I love Uli at Ludwig, and I love Chris Stanky.
Yes.
Like me and Stanky that's my fucking boy. You know what I mean? Chad Brandolini and I have been friends for 25 years. It would take a lot to get me to leave these companies.
Yeah.
But not because of the gear. You can find good cymbals and sticks and heads. It's like they're everybody makes a pretty good drum set, right? Yeah. It's the people, you know what I mean? So for me, it's like, that's kind of first. And I don't need so much that I need constant attention from them.
Mm-hmm.
If you ask Chris how many heads I've ordered from him in our lifetime of knowing each other, it ain't even close to 1,000. It's probably less than 200, 300. I'm like, it's low. It's like I'm in almost 30 years. A lot of times, like when his parents had their accident, I didn't call him.
Oh my gosh!
I didn't call him for 8 months. I was like, I sent him a text sending him my love, but I was like, I'm not going to call this fucking guy for drum heads. Like he's
right.
Life is hitting him. So I would go to Forks and just buy heads all last year because I didn't want to bug Chris.
Right.
But I think of that as a friendship thing. Like I don't want to. I would do that for any of my guys. Uli's wife is a writer, and she put out a book, and I bought a couple of copies. One for me and one for JoJo. And I was like, these are people I support. These are people that I care about. And Uli will come to shows at sound check and be like, man, I'm not really a country guy. And I'm like, I know. Give me a hug. All right, I'll see you later. Take a picture for the Instagram. Go home to your dog or your lady. Like, I get it,
Yeah.
But I'm glad you're with Corey. Man, did I call him for you, or did I set you guys up together? Or
no.
did I just point you in the right direction?
You pointed me at that direction when you were playing with Jimmy's Chicken Shack. And
especially because what you play, that high energy is probably the snare head, right?
Yeah. And I noticed the way your drums were sounding, and I was just like, I like this. I really like this.
Yeah.
Because at that time I was playing Evans. And I tried getting in with Evans. God rest his soul, Marco. Yeah.
That hurt me
Yeah.
last week. I was in New York, and I found out that Marco passed away, and
Yeah.
I checked on Key. I called. I texted Keo first, Keo Stroud, and Marco were really really tight.
All right.
I only hung out with Marco a couple of times, but good lord, like that grappa would end you. Like worst tasting shit in the world, but you had to drink it with him because it was Marco. He'd be like, "Drink some grappa." You'd be like, "I don't want to. I don't."
Oh man.
What a huge personality. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I know there's, as we age, we're going to start losing guys.
Yeah.
And I understand that. And I knew that Marco's lifestyle was obviously, he wasn't going to be a guy that made it to 100 the way he lived.
Yeah.
But, sometimes it's still like 15 years before you think it's going to happen. But we're all going to be sitting here at some point. JoJo and I talked about this a couple months ago. We were watching something. I was like, man, one day we're going to be sitting here. We're going to find out that like Letterman or Tori Amos or De Niro or somebody like passed away today, and it's going to fucking hurt. And we're every drummer in the world we don't think about it. Neil was a wake up call a few years ago. And I texted Stanky immediately because I know they were best friends, and I was like, man, I'm really sorry. I didn't know Neil, but like, we're all going to be sitting around one day, minding our own business, having a fucking cheese sandwich or doing whatever, having fun, posting something goofy, and we're going to get a text that says Vinny's gone.
Yeah.
And we're going to think, oh my God, the prototype, the best drummer on planet Earth, has passed, and that's going to fucking suck.
Yeah, I know it is.
Because we age, we age, and it occurs, and you'd never see it coming. But when it does, it reminds you to like, at least for a while, we all forget because life is a hard hitting bitch. But like, at least it reminds us for a while to be like, call our friends and be like, all right, Will, I love you. We're friends. I consider you we're family. It reminds you to tell your friends what you think of them and be a little more tender, a little more open for just even a little bit before life hardens you up again before the next one,
Yeah.
And I think Marco did that for me. A lot of my friends this week, I'm seeing a lot of posts where they're honoring their emotions, and they're allowing themselves to express a love for this guy that sold them their first pair of sticks at Manny's Music in New York, and then signed them to Evans, and then worked for Firth. Like it was just always kind of around. Even kind of like me and Brady were talking. Even when somebody would get dropped or he would get fired, he would remain friends.
Yeah.
I'm still friends with Andrew Shreve, and he signed me. He worked with me in Peisty, and he's with Gretsch.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love Andrew Shreve.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So like, anyway, going back to Riskin, and Marco, but so Marco probably tried to get you on. Evan, Marco was a giving soul, man. He would try.
I didn't get accepted.
But he did. He tried for you.
He tried, and he's like, because it was my first record back in 2013 or whatever, and it was my first record with Body Count, and that was my first deal being on a major label or anything like that, and I just started with Body Count, so he didn't know where this was going, and I told him back then the whole band is all with Diodario. I thought it just made sense back then, but still as me trying to get into whatever company I was trying to get into, because I respected all drum companies, they're all trying to do it, but what made it set apart was Chris Brady, and just like Stanky, same thing. He just makes it feel like it's not about the gear, it's about the relationship between us two. And I love talking to all of them, especially now, because I'm with DW now, with Garrison.
And doesn't Stinky's wife work up there?
I
Did she? What is she? I thought she worked for somebody that some other company was like DW or something like that. But anyway, but I love Garrison. I love his coffee messages in the morning.
He still does it, So
does he?
Yeah. It's always some kind of riddle. You know, like when you call him and you miss his call or whatever, and you're trying to put a message on there, he'll always put some kind of riddle on there. I'm like, oh,
He
so
probably gets a couple hundred phone calls a day.
I'm
He has to
sure.
weed it out with your trivia knowledge,
Right, man. But that's what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about those relationships with those guys. It's always, fantastic, to find guys like that, and it's like I said, it's not about the gear. It's about the one-on-one between each
Well,
other. You know what I mean?
and with the gear, you can always be like, man, I love like Aquarian has. Maybe they've done themselves a disservice with this. To be honest,
Right.
they might be spread a little thin, but they have a lot of different
Oh,
style of heads. You got that triple threat thing, the responsive, and you got all these things, and the reflector series, all this stuff. I don't use 70% of it.
yeah.
The
Yeah.
Dijonets don't work for my thing. Some of the more vintagey stuff doesn't really like. I'm in the Super Twos or Classic Clears for toms. That's kind of it.
Yeah.
The texture coated with the dot or the high energy. That's kind of it.
Yep.
There's like I only have a couple of things that I use. So, but the thing is, like, you can always find if you talk about the big three,
Yeah.
head companies and the big fucking six drum companies. If you're talking Firth, Promark, Vader,
Yep.
even if you go to the smaller companies like Vincent or whatever, like
Oh man. Yeah. I forgot about that.
you're gonna find, if you're like not endorsed at all and you're just going to Forks, you can go to kind of any of those things and find something that will work for you.
Oh yeah.
Will you find your perfect home? Who knows? You have to look for a while.
Yeah.
But like my first kit was a Ludwig kit, so it feels like home to me, right?
Mm.
But like you can, it's not that it's not about the sticks or the heads or whatever, because I don't care. I have lots of friends that love Evan stuff.
Yeah.
I've never hit them and been like, shit.
Right.
But I've sat down at a friend's kit that has smooth white emperors on his toms and be like, "Doom, ooh, that sounds good."
Yeah. Yeah.
I've never sat at a kit where I loved the Evans, so I'm not really pulled towards that. But like, they all make good shit.
They do.
It really does boil down to the people, and a lot of people don't get how the business works, and they have to look at your traction online now. It sounds cheesy, but like, man, this is a trade-off. They can look at the metrics and they can be like, Kevin is playing for X amount of people a year and he's got this kind of engagement. So if we give him street price $5,000 worth of drums, we're going to make that back this year.
Yeah.
It's just a safe bet. And if I'm not a safe bet, they're not going to go with it. And they, at the time, 2013 body count, they were like, I don't know if this guy's going to stay in this band.
Right.
We're going to give him a deal, and then 6 months from now, he's going to bail.
Right.
Or whatever. So it might not have been a safe bet then. Now you're a safe bet. You have been with Brady, and, but like a lot of people get hung up on deals and stuff. And they think that it's like I don't have anything free all the time, anything I want as much as I want with any of them.
Yeah.
At some point, Chris will be like, nope.
Right.
Send me your credit card number. Yeah. And I'll send you those.
Right.
You need 80 heads. Yeah. I'm going to need your credit card number.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Ludwig, I forget the deal. I think it's like every other or every third year, it's like X amount of shells, like 8 or 10 or whatever. And beyond that, it's an artist pricing thing where I think I pay, I think that snare was, I think my artist pricing on that, like 5-inch wood would be like $410.
Yeah.
Or, $380 or, I know a Black Beauty was like $400 for me.
Right.
But that's, but it's still a deal. And isn't it, it's always such and every business is like this. You're always like, I needed free stuff
right.
when I was a child.
Right.
It's like Carter Beauford doesn't need free Yamahas. Now.
Right.
He makes $10 million a year or whatever it is. But yeah, I love Brady.
Yeah. Oh man. I wanted to talk to you about what's your ritual like how you getting into like for shows or recording, like
It's
what do you do?
my recording is I try to if I can't listen to the music first, if it's going to be off charts, you're raw dogging it.
Mm-hmm.
I at least try to listen to the artist,
Yeah.
get a vibe of what they are. But recording is a wild animal. It's just like, Adult Swim. So I don't really prepare for that other than choosing the gear that goes there, whatever kit is headed there, whatever, stuff like that. For live shows and stuff like that, my show isn't as aggressive or as physically demanding as yours is. So I don't really need to do a lot. I like to warm up because I'm 1,000 years old now, so I like to warm my hands up. But
you and me both, man.
Honestly, the last couple of years I've been dealing with like my hormones have been changing, and like I've had a hard time balancing some certain things, and we're dealing with drugs and stuff. So a lot of times I'm tired. I don't feel so. Really, eating a lot better than I ever have before has become a paramount aspect of my life. I've been plant-based for a while now. Nice. I will add, if I need to eat an egg or whatever to get some protein, I will. But like, I won't eat pork or beef.
Yeah.
I won't eat anything that's as smart as a toddler, because I wouldn't eat a toddler.
Right.
So it just makes sense to me. But I also learned a lot about nutrition through JoJo, and know that I can get what I need elsewhere. So right now it's like eating. I try to work out every day. I try to walk a couple of miles every day. Matter of fact, when we end with this, JoJo is probably out there waiting on me to walk with her. I'm going to go we'll go walk a little bit. I'm going to try to drop 40 pounds this year, because I think I'm going to try.
Really?
Yeah, I'm working towards that. A lot of protein, working at a caloric deficit, because I think the weight is creating like the inflammation is harder on me five decades in than it was 2 decades in. When I was in my 20s, I could survive on, cocaine and Taco Bell, and it was fine. But since then and now I've been dead twice. So
Damn.
Yeah. So I think that I got, now I've reached that stage in my life where I'm like, oh, I would love to know what my daughter's like when she's 50. So I would like to get to 80, or 70, 77 or whatever. So now I'm kind of playing in this genre has afforded me the ability to do some stuff, because I don't tour like you do. Mm-hmm. And like with rock, you're doing a one-off and coming straight back, or you're going out. Yeah. You're staying out. Yeah. I leave Tuesday and I go to Lubbock, and I will rehearse in the arena at Lubbock Wednesday, Thursday. And on Friday, I have a show at that arena. So, because it's the only place we can test all the fire and the bullshit, right?
Yeah.
And then we go somewhere else on Saturday, and then I'll be home Sunday. And from Sunday, next Sunday, and that's just rehearsal week. Last week we had rehearsal in TV. Until the end of the year, and I get my 26 schedule, I will be doing weekends. So, not every weekend. Some I'll have off, but like I don't have any weeks where I'm gone for 2 weeks at a time. I leave Wednesday, and I come back Sunday.
It's not bad, man.
No, it isn't. And people are like, and you know what? A lot of people, I've been the only guy in Nashville willing to talk about this, and you haven't asked, but for the people that are interested, here's the thing. When you're a hired gun, you ain't a millionaire. You know this. I know this. You know, all of our friends in LA and Nashville are more than aware of this.
Yep.
One of the reasons I told you to move was because your band had given it a shot.
Yep.
Y'all weren't getting a deal out of there. If you're Dave Matthews Band, you can get signed out of Charlottesville. Great.
Yeah.
Blow it up, dude.
Yeah.
If you're 311, you can get signed in fucking Omaha. Congratulations. Yeah. Lightning does strike.
Yeah.
But if you're going to be a hired gun, you can't do it from backwoods anywhere. You have to move to a major city to be known, so people know who the fuck you are, and people see you're playing, and they can gauge you, right?
Right.
But we're not making. No, there are some guys that Abe Laboriel he ain't making bad money with Paul McCartney. So there are those rarefied air gigs. But if you're in the regular world of clubs to arenas, you're making somewhere in the hundreds to low thousands per gig, somewhere in that range. So when people are like, oh man, you only make like my NDA precludes me from giving the exact amount. But if I take my W-2 and all of my sessions and some lessons and a couple of clinics and a couple of some remotes here, I can piece together between 120 and 150. You know, on a pretty good year. If I have some other special payments funds check is big, which is like if you record a bunch of records, you get more at the end of the year. You know, some big things, I might be able to get above that, but like typically no. Typically I'm in the 120 to 140 range. Well, if you live in Nashville and you're making 135, 140, and you're home Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday and Wednesday of every week, that's pretty fucking cushy. To be just playing drums.
Yeah, totally.
You know, I don't have a Mercedes, you know, but I have an acre of land and 3 dogs, and I can, you know, it doesn't force everybody to. We don't have to hustle constantly. When I get done with this, me and JoJo are going to go for a walk, and we're going to pet our dogs. We're going to eat what we want for dinner. We're going to go to sleep early tonight. We're going to wake up tomorrow morning, work out. We're going to do our thing. I got a tree down in my front. I can work.
Yeah.
When I was with Earth to Andy and we were touring with STP or whoever, we were gone for months.
Oh my gosh.
You know, we were out. So even though I don't make, you know, $500,000 a year or millions, you know, I don't have Carter Beauford money. Carter was my neighbor for a while, so he's.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, it's fun to be like, nice Porsche. Do you like my Honda? You know, but that's if you're in a band and you're making a cut, and I do not. You know, John, I'm a W-2'd employee of John. Yeah. You know, so, but you know, one of the reasons Nashville is nice is because it isn't as expensive. You know, this house on the market right now would probably be about $500,000.
Yeah.
It would be 3 times that minimum if it were in really bad shape, anywhere within 2 hours of Los Angeles.
Yeah.
If it were close, like in Sherman Oaks, it'd be 4 times.
Oh yeah. There's no question about it.
And so for what I make, it's not like Nashville is cheap anymore, but for what I make, I can live. You know, if I have a big medical emergency, I'm screwed.
Yeah.
It's just like everybody else.
Yep.
You know, taxes still suck. You know, it's still hard to kind of, especially the 1099 work where you're like, I didn't pull out a half of that. Now I got to come up with $6,000 for this. You know, like it gets, it's a dance, but it's a good life for, if you can make low hundreds and you live here and you just tour the weekends. I don't have to be out. That way you can maintain. I lost a marriage over this career and other things, but like I've lost relationships to this. Yeah. I've had to fight to keep my relationship with my daughter being gone from her a lot. Yeah. You know, but like it'll chew your life up. Yeah. You know, so Nashville touring, that weekend warrior style touring, man, I spent a lot of time in the Midwest, but I also spent a lot of time at home.
Yeah. Dude, that's phenomenal. You know? I almost did the same kind of thing because I did this Vegas run, the whole Adele thing. I was just being a tech. Yeah. You know, but still, you know, I was making just about what you were saying, you know, same thing, you know, like, but it was just only on the weekends. That was it. And it was like Thursday through Sunday and I come home. Yeah. You know,
that's what's up.
You know, I wish, you know, other things would, you know, rise to like something like that, you know, like,
sure.
You know, but I understand, you know, he's working as well, you know,
I want to play for Adele.
All right.
Who plays drums for Adele? Who is that?
Derek Wright.
Oh, I've seen him. He's good.
Yeah. Derek Wright.
I'm not going to get that gig.
I got to see him for 2 shows.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. I remember that. Yeah. I remember that.
But I mean, dude, it is something for me that's huge. I don't know. I don't know if I can, you know, that it was a pleasure to do it, you know, for those guys, you know what I mean? So
well, some of the gigs that are really great to have, even as side guy, tech guy, whatever, that are great to have. They are, we have a term in Nashville that we use, you know, that's like, different people say it different ways, but it's like, you know, feather handcuffs. Like you like you don't want to give up what you've got to try and get something. It's good enough to keep you happy, right?
Yeah.
And I have. Do you know Christos Hansen? Do you know
Oh,
Chris?
yeah, I do.
Yeah, he had to go way back to drum corps days, and I talked to him the day his boy, I think his puppy's name was Apollo.
Right.
I think that's his name. His Pity passed away a couple weeks ago, and I remember sending him a text. We're dog lovers, and I was like, "My man, I'm so sorry. I love that dog, and I love you." And he was like, "I gotta leave in 2 hours to go to fucking Malaysia or some shit."
Oh,
Because he's with Black Eyed Peas, and they're playing like
that's
Dubai,
right.
and then Japan, and then Europe. That are all over the place, and he's gone. Like, his lady's super fucking cool, and they got this beautiful. They had this beautiful. He was like, our puppy child. Like, he just passed away. I got to get on a plane. And I was like, man, that happened to Dexter. We lost our 17-year-old Chihuahua.
Yeah, I'm so sorry about that.
Well, thank you. The love of JoJo's life, and like, I had to leave the next day, and I was
The
like,
next, oh,
yeah, but I was like, but I'll be back in 3 days.
right.
Christos left. He was like, I'm going to be gone for 6 weeks. It's like, oh, so even these life events, when like, it sounds better when you're like, oh, I got this rock gig, it's great, but your partners, your family, and your friends, they're going to have to go through all these big life events without you.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. And you have to want that trade-off. And for me, I did it, and the life wasn't that much better for me when I was gone a lot. As a matter of fact, it cost me a lot. It cost me a very expensive divorce, and a relationship. So for me now, I'm home a lot with the people I love, the person I love, and our dogs. My daughter's close by, and I get to be home 3 days a week, 4 days a week sometimes.
Yeah.
And then the whole winter.
Right.
And my winters here suck. They're not like LA winters, but I'm home. So for me, the Nashville has worked for that. And if somebody was like, I want to start a family, I want to do this, but I also want to play drums, I kind of feel like Nashville is the only town.
Yeah. Man, I was almost in that same kind of boat, and that was the reason why I got to play for Adele, because, and not to try to put the drummer's business out there, because he recently just lost his brother.
Yes.
And that's the reason why I stepped in for him.
I did the same thing for Dierks Bentley.
Did you really?
I did it. When Steve's mom died, they were like, Dierks and the tour manager, they found me at a bar at 2 a.m. and they were like, Steve's mom died. We put him on a private home. You're playing tomorrow. We're going to go to your bus and make coffee and teach you the songs.
Yeah. Yeah.
What are you going to say? No? You're like,
right.
My boy's going through this thing.
Right. Right. And that's, especially hard, like I couldn't imagine, you're the top drummer or whatever, and you get some horrible news like that. I don't know how anybody could think during the show, what they're thinking about, him going through that. And, and I just totally felt, so sad, for him, when he was going through that, you know what I mean? But that's my dude, you know what I mean? I have to do it for my dude.
Well, and then it also takes away a little bit from the experience of it, because you're not like, yeah, I'm fucking, you could have had it. Oh, you're like, jam, you're getting off to Adele. Now you're like, man, I'm doing it, and I'm happy to be doing it. And this is like a little bit of a feather in my cap. I can do this, and I'm showing the world that I can do this.
Yeah.
And this is great, but it's under absolute duress. I was like, the whole time I had a great time playing for Dierks and those guys.
Yeah.
They're my friends. Dierks is like, I can call them all and like just chat. They're my friends.
Yeah.
It felt good to do it, but I was also like, man, I feel terrible that I have to do it. Like,
yeah,
this guy's going home to face this other thing. And that's, but man, it's good of you to do it. I mean, that's why when people are like, I had a guy a couple weeks ago. Well, hey, I know you think you think of me as a drummer, but if you hear of any tech work, I'm like, you're still a fucking drummer.
Right. Yeah.
Like Bear, my tech, is one of the best country drummers I've ever seen.
Oh, really? Wow.
His country pocket.
Yeah.
Is perfect.
Wow.
And And there are songs that John sometimes will be like, "Hey man, I want to play this George Strait song," and I'll literally get up and be like, "Bear,"
Right.
and I'll go piss.
Right.
Because Bear he'll be like, "Oh, I know that one."
Right. Yeah.
That's an old Diamond Rio song from 1988. I know it. And he'll
Right.
and I'm just like, "Dick, I'm gonna go pee." Because I would better I ask him to do it,
Yeah.
and it be done well than me crash and burn through it in front of 15,000 people. I'm just like, "Yeah, Bear, do you need me to tune guitars or something while I'm down here, or do you want to just?" But you know, I have a lot of respect for kind of anyone that plays drums, and there's like a hierarchy thing that I don't really get. In Nashville, there's a big one too. It's like the studio guys are the really respected guys, and then the live guys are under them, and then the guys that do Broadway are under them or whatever, and it's all fucking bullshit.
Right.
I've had friends ask me to play Broadway, and I am scared to death to play Broadway.
Oh my gosh.
Because I'm like, imagine. They know 1,500, 2,000, they know thousands of songs that they can just play.
Right.
And they can do it on a kit that isn't there. Some of it's an E kit. They can do it with people they've never met before today. And now they're doing this song and they're singing together and playing. And they can do it 4 hours and then get up and grab their shit and go across the street and do it another 4 hours and then get their shit and go to across the street and do it another 4. They can do it 12 hours a day and then go home. Now they make really good bread.
Yeah.
But like, I'm scared. They have a skill set that I don't have.
Right.
Right. And like for people to kind of shit their way because they're just a Broadway drummer is bullshit. They're better. Those guys, there's a lot of guys down there that are better than most of the dudes on the road.
Right.
And there's a lot of dudes that are on the road that would make phenomenal studio records.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's not a lot of cross-pollination in Nashville. You know, it's kind of, to be where I am right now, where the artist used us on a record is pretty rare.
All right. Wow, man. Speaking on playing on tracks or whatever, do you have anything that you want to plug for upcoming like shows or anything, you know?
I think no. I mean, we're starting the tour next week. John's album is called Honky Tonk Hollywood. And even if you don't like country, it is, Jay, the producer, and I talked a lot about making it one of those albums where the drummers that really cared about the choices would like it. And I do drop little hints.
Yeah.
Throughout. I do a Gad, I do a little Matt Chamberlain thing. I drop little Easter eggs, but like it's fun, but like, yeah, that's kind of, you know, I'm not really, I'm pushing I do my lessons and I do which you guys will put all my socials up and stuff.
Right.
I'm producing. I stopped producing for a while because I had a really bad experience with that American Idol guy I worked for, where I finished the record. It was under budget. It was great. Yeah. It was an album called Redemption. His name was Josh Grayson, and it's a really good record. Right. And I turned it in, and then I went and did. I was doing shows for somebody else, and he went and got the hard drive and added a bunch of shit, and changed a bunch of shit, and like made it not what it was, you know, but it's still good. It's still a really good record. I was proud of it. It kind of burned me out. But now I'm producing again because my wife, Hester Rame, does like this doom folk or something. It's like Ethel Cain style. Like it's like Tori Amos on acid, but dark.
Right.
And she was like, "You're producing this." So now I'm doing that.
Oh man.
But yeah, I don't know if there was something else you think I need to tell me because my brain is spacey.
No. Because I wanted you to, you know, like when you do, like I know you do a lot of remote recording.
Oh, I do. Yeah.
You know, what are you using? You using Pro Tools? You using Logic?
Logic, Apollo stuff. Not a lot of outboard gear now because a divorce ate up a ton of stuff. Right. But I've got my choice instruments. I use an old Vistalite kit typically.
Nice.
That really tracks incredibly well. And I just use a one up, one down here in this room. And if I have other stuff. If somebody's like, I want concert toms from blah, blah, I'll just tear it all out and start over. But the one up, one down, a lot of people are what they're asking me for is kick, snare, and hat. They want pocket. Yeah. You know? So that's what I give them. And let's be honest, I've seen some monstrous players on one up, one down.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh,
if
yeah.
Jordan, if Jordan can do it,
Woo.
then everybody should be able to do it. And he does it better than
Oh,
everybody.
my gosh, man.
But yeah, I am gonna order. I'm gonna call Stanky and get some smaller plates.
Yeah.
I think I need to get. I think I need to revert back to like 16s and 17s and 18s and thinner crashes for recording, just so they speak faster.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to mess around on one of Hester's tracks. I'm gonna try to mess around. I've never done it. Maybe you have. I'm gonna try to mess around with tracking the cymbals separately.
Oh.
Where I just don't play them.
Yeah.
Just play the toms and the snare, and
Yeah.
that way, when you need to compress the kit, you can compress the cymbals differently. When you're playing everything and you put a compression on the mix bus for the drums,
Yeah.
it does it to everything, including the cymbals, and sometimes they get a little aggressive. And since I'm going to try to mix her stuff, I want to save my own ears and save myself because I'm not that. I need to set myself up for success because I'm not a very talented mixer. So I'm going to try to do some stuff there, but like I'm going to film some stuff for Shure because I use all Shure stuff.
Nice. Nice.
I've got to, but like honestly, I'm just pushing my remotes, and
Yeah.
I still do lessons, and sometimes I do them here. People come here.
Right.
I'll make them
Wow.
a cup of coffee, and we'll sit down. And I have to film some stuff for my. I have a Gava kit.
Okay. All right.
I use half of my drum set on the road is I do the loops live. I didn't want them flown in.
Oh. Okay.
And you know, a lot of guys will fly, especially in country. There's a lot of loops now, so they'll fly in the loops and they'll just play them lighter on their big drums.
Yeah.
And I hate that. So
Right.
I have to the left of my hi-hat is the kick.
Okay.
And then I have to the left of my tubby side snare is another Gava snare, and then two Gava toms. So I play, and then a X-hat that's closed. So I play with my left foot.
Oh.
The left side of my kit is what I
Yeah.
do the loops.
Okay.
And then
Wow.
and then I just and then so I go so I
Right.
just go. So the real kit is here, and then
Right.
the electronic. It's kind of Neil Peart E
That's
without spinning all the way around.
that to me. That's still cool.
I mean,
That's the-
I'm just trying to do. Listen, you look at everyone in Nashville, and it's always mostly, you know, DWs or Craviatos, but it's like one up,
Yeah.
one or two down.
Yep.
Rod's right there, two or three crashes. They got an SPD to their left.
Right.
There's an Ableton guy back there launching all the fucking, you know,
Yeah.
the loops, and they just kind of play along with the loops, but it's really not, you know, and it all looks the same. It all plays the same. It's all,
Yeah.
and I just wanted something different. So I have two up, two down. I have a whole left side of electronic stuff. I have different plates. I have every symbol on my kit is from a different series.
All
I
right.
have
Okay.
I have like a complex, an explosion or
Yep.
evolution, whatever that is. I
Yeah.
don't know one of them.
Right.
The other one is the hats, the evolution or the explosion.
Right.
A Zuckerman ride, an artisan,
Ooh.
a Paragon China, and a Roctagon.
Oh no.
I've got like so depending on which
Okay,
symbol
okay.
I hit, it's like a different. It's like 1985, 1981,
Right.
2006. Like
Right.
so I just wanted to make the kit fun. I could do it on a 4-piece.
Right. Yeah.
Especially
Yeah.
this record, I don't do a lot of toms on the record. It's a lot of pocket,
Right.
and you know, and purposely.
Right.
This next one, depending on the material that John writes and what's written for him, I might
Mm-hmm.
use 4 concert toms. Like
Yeah.
I'll decide for the material, but this material needed me to just play a lot of fucking pocket.
Man, that's awesome. That's awesome. Do you do a lot of shuffle stuff?
About a third of the show is shuffled.
Yeah.
About a quarter, and honestly, some of it is full Texas where I'm going chick, 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 where the left hand does it with it.
Yeah.
Almost none are Picaro. Where
Yeah.
almost none. A lot of
Yeah.
and I try to do. I've turned into a minimalist. I like the kick, just
Yeah.
you know. There's certain ways to do it too. John grew up listening to Yoakum, so it's got to be like that, which is a different. Bakersfield shuffle is different than a Texas shuffle. They
Yeah.
feel different,
Yeah.
and those feel different than Chicago. Chicago feels different than New Orleans. It's all very.
Oh, man.
It's pretty particular shit when you really start paying attention.
Right.
But isn't rock like that too? Like you can listen to some metal playing, and you're like, oh, that's a different animal than this other style of metal playing. You know what I mean? I watch some of these kids doing like blast stuff now, and it's just like, yeah, I don't understand.
Right.
And then I make the huge mistake of like, going to the bathroom and opening up my phone and watching Eloy Casagrande playing.
Oh my gosh.
I just want to, I need his phone number so I can call him up and just go, shut up.
Right. He's such a phenomenal player, man.
Shut your mouth, Eloy. Click.
Right.
I want his phone number so I can do what Bill Murray does to his friends and like prank calls all of his buddies in the middle of the night.
Oh,
I'm watching Roadhouse. You should see what this guy Swayze's doing to your wife. Like he does that apparently. He calls like the guy that's married to Kelly Lynch or whatever her name was in Roadhouse.
Yeah.
Apparently once a year or whatever, Murray will wait for that scene or call him up and he'll be like, I'm watching Roadhouse. You should see what Swayze's doing to your wife right now. Hang up. I want Eloy's number so I can just start prank calling him until he starts playing poorly.
Yeah.
Like his Sepultura stuff was frightening.
Oh my gosh!
Then he started doing Slipknot.
Slipknot,
And I like Jay and Joey's drumming, but like, he's just he is violent.
Yeah, he is. It's so violent.
It's so muscular. And it's like
so good. It is so good.
I love it when new names start getting flowers.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there was a long time there where every new gig was like, fucking Vinny. And then the next 15 years it's like, it's fucking Freese.
Right. Josh Freese.
And then like also sidebar, the other day somebody shared something with me a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
A Freese thing. I clicked on it and I couldn't see it and I checked it. He has me blocked.
What?
I have no idea why. I don't know the guy. I must have done something that pissed him off that I'm unaware of. But
wow, that's weird.
It hurt my feelings because I was like, I love the guy. I think he's great, but I don't. And anyway, but for an era, it was like he's the guy. He's the guy. And everybody like when everybody knew that if the Foo Fighters were to do it again, it'd be like, okay, it's going to be like him or John Theodore. Or like there's a couple of guys where it's like these are the likely subjects, right?
Yeah.
But like, I love when a new name pops in, not to detract from them. God, there's no one better at rock than Josh. There's no one better on earth than Vinny.
Mm-hmm.
Who else is going to play for Paul Simon? But Gad.
Right.
All of our favorite Slayer drummer is Dave Lombardo. Like everybody, has their thing. But I love when a new name pops up. When I started seeing Sepultura stuff, I was like, oh, they're getting a bigger name because of the traction he's getting. And that's kind of cool.
Yeah, it is.
It's elevating all of them.
Oh my gosh.
Because this guy is so fucking good.
Good. Yeah. No, there's no question about it, man.
And it's interesting now in the internet, in the social media world, to see some of these names start to get, Tosh. Again, I hope he's a sweet kid. Brady tells me he's a great kid. He seemingly came out of nowhere, but everyone is a 15-year overnight success, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody worked their thing, but social media really introduced you to this. You were like, who's this fucking kid? Does this guy own a shirt?
Yeah.
And like, and he's a really great player. And you're like, oh man. But then his traction grows his name, and then boom, he's on what I would consider to be, I would kill to play for Lady Gaga.
Yeah.
Like he's on that's a great gig. Yeah. And like, isn't that should be a lesson of the power of social media. Not like, I'm going to light my drums on fire and get 400,000 views. Like, shut up. Like,
right.
Like, just do the work.
Yeah.
Play good.
Yeah.
Be yourself.
Yep.
And eventually people will be like, I want that fucking guy. I'll buy him a shirt.
Yeah.
I'll buy that kid a shirt if he comes and plays drums for me. And that's what I like to see. I like to see names like, oh man, okay. Like even people that do stylistic stuff that isn't like in my wheelhouse that I don't love.
Mm-hmm.
I love to see like, oh, this is like that Breed, Xavier or whatever his name is, Breed
Oh.
X, or the really chopsy guy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Dreads,
Yeah. Yeah.
super
Yeah.
fast.
Yep.
Like I'd never heard of him,
Yeah.
and then a few months ago I saw a clip and I was like,
Right.
planet is this guy from?
Right.
And then but it's like, oh, he's not doing a thing that I do, but oh man. And a lot of the guys that like I didn't know any of them. The guy that plays for The Weeknd, I didn't know who that dude was.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But Instagram introduced me to him, and I was like, God damn, he's good.
Right.
Because I don't live in that world anymore. I'm in country. I can tell you every guy that's on tour in country and like what their strength is and who might, guy or girl, like what their strengths, what their weaknesses are. I know them all.
Yeah.
But I don't know, your guy with Adele or Weeknd's guy. I didn't know. So that's what like the good part of social media is. Like, what I see happening to Eloy.
Yeah.
When I see these guys getting their flowers, because they're playing, and some of these dudes aren't even on deck; they're behind the screen or under the, and you're like, this allows me to get to know them, and and witness what they're doing and experience it and really dig in, and I love it. That's the part of social media that I love. Besides like terrible memes.
Yeah.
I like seeing people that I like seeing things that are outside of my wheelhouse done at a high level. I'm bummed out that the world has become, America has become a place where expertise is penalized.
Oh my gosh.
As a general rule. And no one wants to, if they're an expert, they must be bad. Like that's fucking stupid.
Yeah.
I love expertise.
Yeah. No doubt.
I want to see the best of the best. And if you're on a top ass gig and you're holding it down, if you're doing The Weeknd or you're doing Black Eyed Peas or you're doing Adele or you're doing I want to see it.
Yeah.
If you just got the gig with Gaga, I want to see a drum cam and just listen to your mix.
Yeah.
I want to see what you're doing, kid.
Yeah.
I want to gnaw on it the whole show.
Right.
I'll sit there and watch somebody's whole show just like.
Right. Yeah.
I can hear every. I hear the 40 millisecond differences, and I'm like, it sucks me in. It makes me like hungry to like listen to more. Like, oh, she's holding back every single snare, and then she moves it here, and then he moves it there. Like to me, that's my thrill of social media. Everything else about it, I hate.
Yeah. No, I hear you on that, man. Dude, man, is there anything else that you wanna say, or
man?
I mean, it's like, because man, I was going to say something about you, like with the whole marching thing, and
I mean, listen,
how,
that gets a weird. Like I know Dave and the guys like that just hate drum corps stuff, and there's really a lot of examples of people that learn the strict, regimented style of drum corps playing, and it translates to kit pretty poorly. And we've all seen. None of us, and I'm talking to you clinicians out there, even you that are more successful than me, no one on planet Earth needs your lesson on how to move paradiddles around the kit. No one ever needs that again.
Right. Yeah.
We've all seen it. We get it. We know.
Right.
We know.
Yeah, we know that.
We get it. We all saw. We don't need that any more than we need the Chafee and the Chester rehashing those books.
Yes,
we get it.
Yes,
break new ground or just show us what you do.
Yep.
But like a lot of guys can apply that to the kit. It sounds pretty terrible. But there are also guys. Chamberlain marched.
Yeah.
Jason Sutter marched. Steve Gadd marched in the Rochester, whatever they were called.
Yeah.
I marched in Madison Scouts. I know I know people that marched that are playing out there that marched Blue Devils and fucking,
oh my god,
like there are people that did WGI and did DCI that can translate it to kit, and they just took their tools and they did it. What I loved about it was it here my hands are. about a quarter as strong as they were when I was 20 and I was marching.
Yeah.
And I wasn't even in a particularly, the Scouts line that I was in wasn't particularly good competitive for that year. We were up against some of the best years of some of the top, Blue Devils had Tommy, and
Oh man.
Cadets did Candide, and like everybody was doing some really great stuff, and we weren't as strong. But even as kind of middle of the pack as I was, like my hands are still pretty strong because of that.
Yeah.
And that's the one good point. But one of the biggest points of it, one of my arguments for why it is valuable, and it can get real. They're dancing around now, and there's all this other stuff.
Oh my gosh.
It can get real. It can get real tiring.
Yeah.
But one of the things that it teaches young kids, and even if they don't get to that level, if they just do marching band in high school, one of the beautiful things about it is you cannot do it well if you don't figure out how to listen to everything going on and find your place in it and cast your ego. Your ego has to take a step back.
Oh yeah.
And you have to be a part of this communal thing where precision is king and interpretation is God.
Yeah.
And that is a really beautiful thing to learn early, because then when you're, when you learn that at 19 or 15, when you're a guy or a girl doing a gig at 37 or 47 or 52 and something happens, it isn't just he's playing a busy thing, I'll do a busy thing too.
Right.
It's an awareness of this is happening, then this. I need to serve this. Let him wank. He's wanking, whatever. But this, I need to stabilize. And you'll find places where you're like, I will disrupt the feel here to make it feel better. I'll disrupt this so this feels better.
Yeah.
And I will, this is how you learn to do that faster when you have figured out how to play in the center of 9 snare drums reefed up to feel like you're touching granite,
Yeah.
There's a different learning that comes with that. And I think that it gets band geeked to where a lot of people don't respect it. And a lot of people talk bad about it because there are some bad habits that come from it if you apply them to the kit.
Yeah.
The technique is very different. Playing a Kevlar head that's maybe, I don't know, 2,800 pounds per square inch. There's a whole lot different technique of dropping the stick, playing it, allowing it to bounce, crushing it, forcing it. There's different techniques you use for that than you will on a 6.5 inch snare drum tuned to medium high with a coated head on it. It's just going to feel, you can't apply them. So when people do, they further the hate that the activity gets, but it saved my life.
Yeah. I completely agree with you, because I did the same thing. I thought I was going to try to get into DCI. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to get into DCI.
Right.
But hey man, set drumming, I love set drumming. It's totally a different animal, with set drumming and, being in, drum corps stuff, you know what I mean?
Sure.
But I mean, I just loved it all. I just loved any kind of drumming that was available in my hands, that if I could get it, I would do it, But,
and the math of learning all those little patterns and stringing them together and then playing it cleanly. I would rep things that were like 2 minutes long. I would get to the very end and I would make one tiny mistake where the 2 notes were here.
Oh my gosh.
Instead of here.
Yeah.
And I would be like, I got to do it again. And I would do it for 10 hours. That compulsive obsessiveness that is required to do it well, whether you make it to drum corps or not. And I did. And it was great. That obsessiveness that you have to approach drums with really worked well for me when I'm sitting in rehearsal. We're 6 hours in, we're slopping through the same fucking 15 songs. I'm on the 4th run through of the set. I'm burned out. I'm tired.
Yeah.
I revert back to the skill set of my being 19 and having to just dig in and do it right.
Yeah.
Because in my mind, I think, well, if I do it poorly, we're just going to have to run it a 5th time. So just get it done, do it right. Make sure that I want the artist to think he's the one that needs to pick it up because I'm doing so good.
Yeah.
I don't want to be it helps me never be the weak link, is thinking back to my drum line and drum corps days.
Yeah.
The work ethic that put into me, and helped me survive as a profoundly ADHD person, like that really helped me live.
Oh,
more than just drum.
yeah. I believe you, man.
I probably didn't get to a lot of stuff you wanted to get to, but I've loved catching up with you, man. I've missed you.
Dude, I miss you too, man. We need to do this more often, so, and just catch up, just on a random thing or whatever, you know what I mean?
And I don't play LA. I don't
Right.
play LA a lot.
I know. I need to get out to Nashville. That's what I need to do.
Come on.
So, and I know you've been saying that for years. And it's like, come on over. Come on. But dude, thank you for coming on the show, man. Thank you, man. I appreciate you. Love you, dude. And I hope to talk to you soon.
Likewise.
All right, man. Take it easy, man. All right, later. Hey, what's up, y'all? This is Will Dorsey Jr. Talk Music Podcast. If you like what you see, please hit that subscribe button. That little red button on there, just hit it. That will help me out tremendously. If you can also, subscribe to our YouTube channel, that will also help me. And if you wanted to download our podcast on Apple or Google or Amazon or even Spotify, you can check us out on there. Hope you guys enjoy the show.
Today's episode is brought to you by our sponsor, eRecord Studio, the new way musicians rehearse, record, and share their e-record sessions on social media. Visit ERS on erecordstudio.com. Download this amazing app on Google and Apple Apps stores.
Visit us on www.talkmusicpodcast.com. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Download our podcast on Apple, Google, Amazon, and Spotify.